Chapter 1392. The giant dark green beetle and the fiery brownish gold monkey stood in front of Jian Li, one on the left and one on the right. It immediately gave birth to a stance that seemed to be on par with the enormous inky flood dragon in the sky. When the two ironwood guards had just summoned their fays, Lin Yuan had used True Data to check on them. According to True Data, one of these two fays was a Diamond X/Fantasy 4 wood bullet insect. The other was a Diamond X/Fantasy V exploding fire golden monkey. The wood bullet worm's combination of abilities and exclusive skills was outstanding. Its mirror-like back armor had the ability to reflect damage to a certain extent. However, if one were to compare them, the wood bullet bug's potential was much lower than Xueqi's golden jadeite yellow butterfly. As for the explosive fire golden monkey, it was a combat fey that cultivated both physical and elemental attacks. There wasn't anything special about the skill. It was just average. However, fays that excelled in both physical and magical arts usually didn't have any weaknesses in combat. Be it the wood shield bullet insect or the explosive fire golden monkey, they were both considered pinnacle fantasy breed fays. The explosive fire golden monkey was only one step away from welcoming the world cleansing and becoming a myth breed. This meant that the two black-armored men in front of the short man were both peak king stage powerhouses. Lin Yuan's original intention was to find Luo Ya in Nanmu City and obtain the walnut tree from her. He then took a look at Nanmu City's market to see if there were any fays like the clear yang flower for sale. He also inquired about the market price of fays like the clear yang flower that could produce chi phenomena. If there were many plant fays that could produce weather phenomena in Nanmu City, he planned to collect more of them in the city. This would allow Gray, who had been trapped in the Spirit Lock spatial zone, to increase its strength. In Nanmu City, there weren't many plant fays that could produce weather phenomena. After he found Zhou Iran in Oak City, he would contact the Sincere E Caravan. He wanted to see if he could use his relationship with the Sincere E Caravan to obtain fays like the clear sunflower that could produce chi phenomena from the deep frost chamber of commerce in large quantities. However, the current situation was clearly different from what he had expected. When Jian Li saw that the two firmwood guards had summoned their main fays, he quickly prepared to berate them. If the fays were to assume an offensive stance, it would obviously make the atmosphere stiff. At that time, how would he be able to rope in and befriend the white-clothed youth on the back of the inky flood dragon? Before Jian Li could ask the two sturdy wood guards to retrieve their fays, Lu Jie's expression suddenly turned cold. What Lu Jie hated the most was people targeting Lin Yuan. Since the other party dared to put on such an obvious offensive posture, then don't blame me for being impolite. The spiritual energy in Lu Jie's body, which had just been replenished by Little Black, surged again. At this moment, Lu Jie's consumption of spiritual energy was even crazier than when he had the insect queen create the hurricane owlet moths. Night Leaning Moon had upgraded Lu Jie's insect queen to Diamond X/Fantasy V. With such a grade, the insect queen could freely control the grade of the produced insect species phase. The level of the produced insects would be changed from normal to Diamond X/Fantasy V. However, because Lu Jie had always been using the insect C tactic, he rarely let the insect queen produce Diamond X/Fantasy breed insects. This time, Lu Jie did not choose to let the insect queen produce the hurricane owlet moths, plasma moths, and electric caterpillars, which required a lot of energy and insect protein to produce. Lu Jie chose to let the insect queen mass produce the insect species Fei, the flesh-mincing blade insect, at normal. One after another, the insect queen produced Diamond X/Fantasy I flesh-mincing blade insects in the belly of the dimensional light moths. One by one, the dimensional light moths threw the flesh-mincing blade insects out of their bellies. In an instant, nearly 100 Diamond X/Fantasy I flesh-mincing blade insects landed on the ground and gathered into a swarm. They crawled toward the Nanmu Square with a mighty momentum. A total of 300 flesh-mincing blade insects did not make any insect sounds while crawling. With every step forward, the dagger-like insect legs would pierce the limestone slabs on the ground. On the undamaged ground, terrifying scars were drawn one after another. If it was a Diamond X/Fantasy I flesh-mincing blade insect, the two sturdy wood guards would not be afraid. After a simple battle, the two sturdy wood guards commanded their fays to kill the Diamond X/Fantasy I flesh-mincing blade insects. After all, the wood bullet insect was a Fantasy 4 fey, while the explosive golden monkey was a Fantasy V. However, when the insects formed a swarm, things began to change. Over 300 Diamond/Fantasy breed insects were a terrifying combat power that Nanmu City had never seen before. Such a team of flesh-mincing blade insects was enough to turn Nanmu City into a living hell. Even Jian Li, who had seen big scenes, could not help but gasp when he saw the swarm of diamond-slash-fantasy breed insect species phase. After doing all this, Lu Jie looked at Lin Yuan. He asked Lin Yuan if he wanted the flesh-mincing blade insects to attack the wood bullet insect and the explosive golden monkey. Lin Yuan shook his head gently at Lu Jie. The situation was unclear, so there was no need to make a move. The pinnacle king-class experts that he had to look up to a few months ago were no longer a threat to Lin Yuan. Killing those two pinnacle king-class experts would not benefit Lin Yuan at all. Just as Blackie was about to touch the ground, Lin Yuan waved his hand and stored Blackie in his spiritual spatial zone. Lin Yuan, Lu Jie, and Ji Feng landed on the Nanmu Plaza in a carefree manner. Zhang Tong and the others' pupils shrank when they saw this scene. Everyone clearly saw that when the youth in white had stored the ink-colored flood dragon, he had not taken out the walnut that could hold items. This meant that the ink-colored flood dragon was this youth's contracted fae. It was simply too shocking. How old was this youth in white to have a diamond-slash-fantasy breed fae? Jian Li was the Divine Wood 100 Sequence 83rd, and his strongest fae was only Gold X/Fantasy I. Jian Li had always been proud of his strength. However, compared to this youth in white, his strength was not enough at all. Upon seeing Lin Yuan walking in his direction, Jian Li hurriedly said to the two ironwood guards beside him, "What are you two doing? What are you two doing? Why did you summon a fae when a friend is here?" Jian Li's voice was very loud, and it reached everyone's ears. It made Zhang Tong's heart skip a beat. He had gotten up early in the morning to set up this place for Jian Li. In order to help Jian Li vent his anger, he had even summoned the strongest corrosive serpent flood dragon. The corrosive serpent flood dragon had been seriously injured by the ink-colored flood dragon's attack just now. It was still rolling on the ground and hissing. However, facing the person who had injured the corrosive serpent flood dragon, Jian Li put on a smiling face. He even affectionately called that person a friend. When Zhang Tong heard the word friend, he only felt that it was extremely ironic. If that youth in white was a friend, then what was he? ABC. Chapter 1393. Lin Yuan did not know Jian Li, so he ignored Jian Li's greeting. Lin Yuan only knew Luo Ye, so he simply waved at her. He decided to ask about Luo Ye's situation first. Upon seeing Lin Yuan waving at her, Luo Ye hurriedly pulled the bewildered Roger and ran toward him. Previously, Rhodes' face was full of fear, thinking that he would be buried in the snake's stomach because of Roya's expression. Who would have thought that an ink-colored giant flood dragon would appear in the sky and save him and Luo Ye? Rhodes suddenly had a guess in his mind. Among the three people on the back of the enormous inky flood dragon, could one of them be Luo Ye's boyfriend? If he had known this would happen, he wouldn't have forced Luo Ye to interact with Huang Yu and marry into the Huang family. Didn't they see that even Lord Jian Li was expressing goodwill towards the three people on the back of the inky black flood dragon? Seeing the young man in white waving to Luo Ye, Rhodes was even more sure of his guess. Slowly, Rhodes stopped trembling and straightened his back. It was as though Rhodes' status in the Nanmu Plaza had become higher than Zhang Tong and Jian Li. Lin Yuan asked as he looked at Luo Ye, who had run in front of him. "Didn't we agree to meet here? What's going on here?" Upon hearing his question, Luo Ye lowered her head in embarrassment. Luo Ye turned to look in Zhang Tong and Jian Li's direction, and discovered that Zhang Tong was looking at her threateningly. Roha's eyes flashed. He hurriedly turned around and said to Lin Yuan, "Don't worry. I didn't know that Zhang Tong was here to welcome Lord Jian Li, so I decided to meet him here." Fortunately, there was no misunderstanding. After saying that, Luo Ye lowered her voice and explained softly to Lin Yuan. Zhang Tong is the young patriarch of a Class 3 creation master clan in Nanmu City. Lord Jian Li is a Divine Wood 100 Sequence member. At this time, Luo Ye's heart was full of grievances. Just because her gaze was wrong, she almost died in the mouth of the corrosive poisonous snake flood dragon. However, Luo Ye knew that their relationship was too shallow. If she had to clarify her relationship with Lin Yuan, it was when they were facing the Class 2 underground dimensional rift at the border of the Divine Wood Federation and the Iron Hammer Federation. He owed Lin Yuan his life. Thus, Luo Ye did not tell Lin Yuan about the specific situation. She only said that it was fortunate that no misunderstanding had occurred. If Lin Yuan had not been riding on the Black Flood Dragon, it would have been a different story. Based on the situation just now, he knew that something must have happened here. However, Lin Yuan did not care about this. Zhang Tong was the young family head of a Class 3 Creation Master clan, and he could do whatever he wanted in Nanmu City. However, Lin Yuan did not take it seriously at all. If he wanted a Class 3 Creation Master, he would need less than 2 days. Genius was able to nurture a Class 3 Creation Master's 100 questions beast. A Class 3 Creation Master was worthless to Lin Yuan. However, Jian Li's identity as a Divine Wood 100 sequence member piqued his interest. If Lin Yuan could use such an identity, he could quickly open the door to the Divine Wood Federation's upper-class society. At the same time, he learned first-hand information that only the upper echelons of the Divine Wood Federation could know. While Lin Yuan was interested in Jian Li's identity, Jian Li had already taken the lead and walked toward Lin Yuan. Upon seeing Jian Li walking toward the white-clothed youth, the 2 Atomwood guards beside Jian Li and Zhang Tong hurriedly followed Jian Li's footsteps and walked toward Lin Yuan together. When Luo Ye saw Jian Li and Zhang Tong walking towards her, she subconsciously shrank back in fear. Lin Yuan noticed Luo Ye's reaction. When he thought about the platinum corrosive venomous snake that wanted to devour Luo Ye, he roughly understood the current situation. Lu Jie had been paying attention to Lin Yuan's eyes and saw him looking at Jian Li with interest. Lu Jie immediately understood Lin Yuan's intentions. Coincidentally, the rotten venomous flood dragon was struggling on the ground. In order to stop the bleeding from the large hole in its body, it quickly grew new flesh. The corrosive venomous flood dragon used its tail to bind the wound and continuously tightened its grip on the wound. This caused the corrosive venomous flood dragon to hiss in pain. Lu Jie immediately bowed to Lin Yuan and asked, "Young master, this little snake that hasn't even awakened its flood dragon bloodline has disturbed your peace. Why don't I deal with this little snake first? That way, it won't bother you again." Lin Yuan understood Lu Jie's nature and knew that he was not a murderous person. Although Lu Jie was Lin Yuan's retainer knight, he would not bow to Lin Yuan when speaking. Most of the time, Lu Jie would call Lin Yuan by his name. He would only address Lin Yuan as young master for some important matters. Lu Jie must have said this because he wanted to use this to open up the situation and let Lin Yuan take the initiative. Lin Yuan glanced at Zhang Tong, who was beside Jian Li, and revealed a pondering expression. It was as though he was considering if Lu Jie's suggestion was feasible. Upon hearing Lu Jie's words, Zhang Tong's expression suddenly changed. He was currently in the same despair as Luo Ye. The corrosive venomous flood dragon was his father's main fei and the Zhang family's strongest combat power. Once the corrosive venomous flood dragon was killed, it would definitely cause his father's spiritual energy to be damaged. Class 3 creation masters relied on spiritual energy to concoct spirit fluids. Spiritual energy damage would cause his father to fall from his position as a Class 3 creation master. At that time, the Zhang family, a Class 3 creation master family, would cease to exist. Without his father, the Zhang family would immediately lose its value in Jian Li's eyes. The Zhang family had accumulated power in Nanmu City for many years and had always been overbearing. If his father fell, the Zhang family would lose their strongest combat power. The Huang family wouldn't target the Zhang family because of his mother. However, the Luo family, the Meng family, and the Li family would definitely join forces to resist the Zhang family. In addition, Luo Ye knew that white-clothed youth, and he might continue to attack the Zhang family after killing the corrosive venomous flood dragon. Zhang Tong turned around and looked at Jian Li with pleading eyes. He only hoped that Jian Li could speak up for him. In the end, Zhang Tong saw Jian Li looking at the white-clothed youth with astonishment. When Jian Li noticed Zhang Tong's pleading eyes, Jian Li merely glanced at him and didn't express anything else. Jian Li's indifference caused Zhang Tong's heart to turn cold. Jian Li originally thought that the 3 individuals on the inky flood dragon's back were of the same trade. The 3 of them had an extraordinary aura and looked like the young masters of the Deep Enlightenment Federation's hidden aristocratic clans. However, he didn't expect the black-armored youth to be the white-clothed youth servant. Furthermore, this swarm of insects was a technique unleashed by the black-armored youth. The servant had the aura of a descendant of an aristocratic clan, and his strength was appalling. This made Jian Li even more unable to see through Lin Yuan's strength. Even his steps forward became a little hesitant, and he wasn't as calm as before. After Zhang Tong confirmed that Jian Li didn't have any intention to help him, he gritted his teeth and took 2 steps forward. He then knelt on one knee and said, "Brother Lin, I'm sorry." ABC. Chapter 1394. Young Master, The corrosive snake flood dragon is my father's fae. I didn't mean to offend you. Pain is a fae's instinct, but I didn't know that the corrosive snake flood dragon's hissing would make you feel noisy. I will immediately let the corrosive snake flood dragon leave this place so that it won't disturb you again. Zhang Tong's face was pale, but he was gritting his teeth and pleading. Lin Yuan had a rough idea of Zhang Tong's personality. Zhang Tong had taken a few glances at Jian Li before pleading. According to Luo Ye, Zhang Tong had welcomed Jian Li here. It meant that Zhang Tong and Jian Li had a certain friendship. As a Divine Wood 100 sequence member, Jian Li's status was much higher than Zhang Tong, who was from a Class 3 Creation Master Clan. But when Zhang Tong was pleading, Jian Li didn't speak up for him. It seemed like Jian Li was exceptionally cold. Just as Zhang Tong thought that Lin Yuan wouldn't agree and the insect swarm was about to move, Zhang Tong heard a clear and pleasant voice ring out in his ears. Since you said it, pain is a fae's instinct. What is there to blame for a fae's instincts? Zhang Tong was startled by Lin Yuan's words. Zhang Tong gently raised his head and unexpectedly met Lin Yuan's gaze. The youth's pure black eyes were as deep as the starry sky, and Zhang Tong felt as though he was staring into an unfathomable abyss. Jian Li revealed a surprised expression when he heard that Lin Yuan had spared the corrosive snake flood dragon. Jian Li took a step forward and said, Zhang Tong, why aren't you thanking this young master again? If this young master releases the corrosive snake flood dragon, your Zhang family will have to thank this young master. Why don't you hold a thank you banquet for this young master in your Zhang family's auditorium tonight? Jian Li's words made it seem as if he was trying to find a way out of this embarrassing situation for Zhang Tong. It wasn't that Jian Li didn't want to help Zhang Tong, but he didn't have time to plead. In fact, it was because the bugs present made Jian Li very uncomfortable. Just now, two of his firmwood gods had summoned their faes and were in an obvious attacking stance towards that black flood dragon. These insects had been summoned because of the previous confrontation. If Jian Li were to open his mouth to rope Lin Yuan in, he was really afraid that Lin Yuan would reject him. In that case, there would be no room for change. The Jian family was a big family in the Divine Wood Federation, and the people of the Divine Wood Federation were open-minded. There were more than 20 direct descendants of the Jian family. Among them, there were 3 who made it to the Divine Wood 100 sequence. Jian Li was the youngest, and his ranking in the Divine Wood 100 sequence was the lowest. However, Jian Li had always wanted to fight against his 2 brothers. It was just that he had never found a suitable opportunity. Now, Jian Li regarded Lin Yuan as an opportunity that he might seize. In the great aristocratic families, even though everyone around them was related by blood, they were all cold. The only way was to climb up to the highest position. Only then could they enjoy power and splendor. This principle had been deeply engraved in Jian Li's bones ever since he was sensible. Seeing that Zhang Tong didn't respond immediately, Jian Li raised his leg and kicked Zhang Tong's calf. Only then did Zhang Tong come back to his senses from that pair of deep black eyes. Zhang Tong said hurriedly, In order to express my gratitude to young lord, I would like to host a banquet in the family hall tonight to welcome young lord's arrival in Nanmu City. It's also a good opportunity to welcome Lord Jian Li, who has also come from afar. I wonder if young lord has time. Lu Jie's behavior and Lin Yuan's approach just now were to let Zhang Tong or Jian Li build a suitable social occasion. Lin Yuan had just arrived in the Divine Wood Federation, and the help Luo Ye could give him was too little. This kind of grand social occasion was what Lin Yuan needed. I will stay in Nanmu City for a day and leave before noon tomorrow. I will naturally be free at night. Zhang Tong turned to Luo Ye and rode and said, Little Ye knows you, young lord. Little sister Ye knows you, young master. Little sister Ye knows where it is. I will have to trouble little Ye to bring young lord there. Luo Ye and Rode held their breaths when they heard that. They didn't expect that they would be personally invited to such an occasion by Zhang Tong. This was completely on account of Lin Yuan's face. Moreover, Zhang Tong's address of little Ye made Rode know that after today's incident, the Zhang family would also become a trusted aid of the Luo family. If the Zhang clan took in the Luo clan as their trusted aides, they would be able to develop well in Nanmu City like the Huang clan. Rode and Luo Ye immediately accepted Zhang Tong's invitation with joy. When Rode and Luo Ye led Lin Yuan, Lu Jie, and Ji Feng away from Nanmu Plaza to the Huang family, Zhang Tong stood up from the ground. When Zhang Tong stood up again, the way he looked at Jian Li had completely changed. Although Zhang Tong's eyes were still filled with enthusiasm for Jianli, there was no longer any sincerity. Zhang Tong's decision to abandon the Zhang family without hesitation made Zhang Tong's heart turn cold. He knew that even if the Zhang family tried to curry favor with the Jian family, it would be like asking a tiger for its skin. They wouldn't be able to get any protection and might be abandoned at any time. Since the white-clothed youth was attending the banquet with the Zhang family tonight, could he get rid of Jianli and cooperate with the white-clothed youth? The white-clothed youth came from the Deep Enlightenment Federation and was dressed so luxuriously. He must have a lot of resources in the Chamber of Commerce. As long as a large Chamber of Commerce established a branch in Nanmu City, the city's economy would develop rapidly in a short period of time. Of course, this was just Zhang Tong's wishful thinking. Nanmu City's geographical location determined that the Chamber of Commerce couldn't establish a branch in the city. However, if the Zhang family could work for the white-clothed youth in the future, the Zhang family might be able to develop better than having a Chamber of Commerce establish a branch in Nanmu City. Everyone present had their own thoughts. Zhang Tong had originally planned to personally bring Jianli back to the Zhang family to rest. However, Zhang Tong was already disappointed with Jianli, so he found an excuse to clean up the mess at Nanmu Plaza. He let the injured corrosive venomous snake flood dragon bring Jianli and 2 Atomwood guards to the Zhang family on the blade feather eagle sparrow. After Jianli and the 2 Atomwood guards left, Zhang Tong heaved a sigh of relief and immediately saw the ashen-faced Huang Yu. Zhang Tong walked forward with an angry expression and stood beside Huang Yu without saying a word. When Huang Yu saw that everyone had left, she gritted her teeth and said angrily to Zhang Tong, "Cousin, could Luo Ya and that person already be together?" "Cousin, is it possible that Roha and that person are already together?" On the way here, Luo Ya kept making calls on her cell phone. It is likely that she was calling that person. "I want to go home now and ask my father to ask Uncle Luo. If there's nothing going on between Aya and that person, I want to get engaged to Aya immediately." Before Huang Yu could finish speaking, Zhang Tong viciously slapped him across the face. Zhang Tong had used all his strength in this slap, causing Huang Yu, who was 1.8 meters tall, to stumble. ABC. Chapter 1395. Zhang Tong said coldly to Huang Yu, "What is the identity of that young master? What kind of woman is Luo Ya? Why would that young master like Luo Ya? Haven't you heard that the rich and powerful families of the Deep Burn Federation practice monogamy? It's impossible for a woman like Luo Ya to become the matriarch of a hidden noble clan in the Deep Burn Federation. Tomorrow, that young master will leave. When that young master leaves, he won't bring Luo Ya with him. At that time, you can pursue Luo Ya again. I won't stop you. But if you force Luo Ya, it's very likely that the Huang family will be exterminated. Don't blame me for not reminding you. Think about it carefully." Zhang Tong had just noticed that Luo Ya was looking at the white-robed youth. But the white-clothed youth didn't even look at Luo Ya. If Roha really had a close relationship with the boy in white, then when the boy in white asked, Luo Ya would never be vague about the grievances she had suffered. Fortunately, Luo Ya had nothing to do with the white-clothed youth. Otherwise, none of the people in the square would have survived the attack of more than 300 diamond/fantasy breed bugs. Zhang Tong ignored Huang Yu, who was stunned by his slap. Taking a deep breath, he took out his phone and prepared to explain the situation to his father before Jianli arrived at the Zhang family. It would also allow his father to make a judgment. Lin Yuan, Lu Jia, and Ji Feng did not stay in the Luo residence despite Road and Luo Ya's warm invitation. Instead, he booked a treehouse near the Luo family and prepared to experience the unique architecture of the Divine Wood Federation. Luo Ya, who had been rejected, was very disappointed. However, Luo Ya, who had been outside for many years, understood the ways of the world. She knew that it was impossible for her to be with Lin Yuan. Luo Ya forced herself to bury this feeling deep in her heart and decided to deepen their relationship in other aspects. Luo Ya changed the topic and said, "Lin Yuan, stay in this treehouse first and then come to my house to have a simple meal. I'll give you the walnut tree that you need." Road knew that Luo Ya was going to give the storage walnut tree to Lin Yuan, so he quickly slapped his thigh and said, "Our Luo clan has the most walnut trees among the 4 two-star clans, except for those seedlings that I've transplanted and whose survival is uncertain. There are a total of 26 walnut trees that can produce walnuts. If you want, I can give all of these walnut trees to you." Road calculated in his heart, thinking that someone like Lin Yuan would definitely not take the Luo family's walnut tree for free. Rode also didn't think that it was possible for his daughter, Roya, to be with Lin Yuan. However, through Luo Ya and Lin Yuan's relationship, it was still possible to climb up the tree that was Lin Yuan. Lin Yuan's main purpose in going to the Divine Wood Federation this time was to obtain the storage walnut tree. This was to ensure that he could freely travel between the Radiance Federation and the Divine Wood Federation. Otherwise, when he returned this time, he would have to rely on the ethereal jellyfish's gold rank skill to harvest the condensed space crystals. Thus, Lin Yuan gladly agreed to Luo Ya's invitation. He was going to head to the Luo family's residence to take a look and see if the object-storing walnut tree was easy to nurture and how long it would take to produce a batch of object-storing walnuts. After successfully settling down in the treehouse, Lin Yuan and Lu Jie set off for the Luo family's residence. Ji Feng stayed in the treehouse and released his two fays, the Karma Sword Orchid and the Command Water Lotus. He also let the humanoid Karma Sword Orchid and the Command Water Lotus stay in Nanmu City to investigate the situation. One was to head to Oak City and investigate it in advance. Ji Feng took over Lu Jie's position as scout. On the one hand, he used the Karma Sword Orchid and the Command Water Lotus to investigate. On the other hand, he perfected the topographic maps of Nanmu City and Oak City. On the other hand, Lin Yuan was afraid that Su Iren, whose soul had been injured, would have an accident if she stayed alone in Oak City for a long time. Su Iren was a talent that Lin Yuan valued very much and was very useful for his development in the Divine Wood Federation. In particular, Su Iren's identity as a former Dark Envoy was also equivalent to a kind of resource. If Lin Yuan wanted to target the Dark Continent, as long as Su Iren was there, everything could be justified. The Command Water Lotus could heal soul injuries, so going to Oak City was the most suitable. Ever since Lin Yuan had treated Ji Feng, he had been cautious in the Radiance Federation. During his time in the Listening Heron Chamber of Commerce, Ji Feng had received Lin Yuan's instructions to return to the mansion. In order to prevent being noticed by the people from the Whale Ocean Chamber of Commerce, he had hardly gone out. Now that he could send out the Karma Sword Orchid and the Command Water Lotus to move freely outside, Ji Feng felt the taste of freedom that he had not felt in a long time. After Lin Yuan and Lu Jie arrived at the Luo family, Luo Ya hurriedly set off to the backyard to pick fresh fruits. Rode arranged for the servants to prepare the meals with the highest specifications. Rode welcomed Lin Yuan to the main seat and left the second seat for Lu Jie. Rode sat in the guest seat cautiously as if Lin Yuan was the owner of this mansion. Rode, who was sitting in the guest seat, had been racking his brains on how to find a topic to chat with Lin Yuan. Rode was really afraid that if he said something wrong and offended Lin Yuan, it would bring disaster to the Luo family. Even Zhang Tong and Lord Jianli wanted to curry favor with him, so the Luo family did not have the ability to offend him. In his anxiety, Rode subconsciously took out two red jade-like walnuts from his sleeve. He skillfully played with them in his hand. When Lin Yuan saw what Rode was playing with, he did not immediately recognize that they were walnuts. He had sensed the spatial energy and used Morbius True Data to check the two red jade-like objects. Only then did he confirm that they were silver/epic walnuts. When Rode found that Lin Yuan was interested in the walnuts in his hand, the smile on his face froze, and he revealed a reluctance. After hesitating for a long time, Rode gritted his teeth and handed the two red jade-like walnuts to Lin Yuan. "My lord, these are walnuts that I have been playing with for 7 or 8 years. They are at silver/epic. Look at this pair of walnuts. They have a big belly, high navel, and smooth texture. They are a great match. If you like them, I might as well give them to you." Upon hearing that, Lin Yuan immediately understood what was going on. It turned out that Rode had the habit of playing walnuts. Lin Yuan had seen normal silver walnuts before, and they were brownish-yellow in color and not very eye-catching. The reason why the walnuts in Rode's hand were red jade-like should be because he had been playing with them for 7 years. In his previous life, Lin Yuan had seen many old men holding a pair of matched walnuts in their hands and playing with them. However, in this life in the Radiance Federation, Lin Yuan had never found a group of people with such a hobby. ABC. Chapter 1396. Judging from how Rode treated the pair of walnuts as if they were his treasures, it seemed like they were Rode's treasures. Lin Yuan had always thought that the walnuts were storage tools for the Divine Wood Federation's spirit chi professionals. Now, it seemed that the walnuts had other additional values. If it was only used as a storage tool, naturally, the higher the grade of the walnut, the stronger its storage ability. After listening to Luo Yu's introduction of the walnuts along the way, Lin Yuan found that they really had an advantage compared to the Fey storage box. When the walnut's quality was promoted to legend, it would automatically divide into many core rooms, and each core room could store a living Fey. This ability to automatically divide space was not available in the Fey storage box produced by Ostrich Logistics. Of course, this characteristic of the walnut also made it necessary to do Fey trading in the Divine Wood Federation. There had to be a legend walnut. This made it necessary to have a very high threshold to do Fey trading in the Divine Wood Federation. Only major factions could do it. The higher the grade of the Fey, the easier it was to reach legend. A diamond/legend walnut tree required a Class 3 creation master to carefully nurture it for a long time. Moreover, the walnut could only be used a limited number of times. Each time it was accessed, it would consume the storage energy in the walnut. This made the walnut a consumable even if it reached diamond/legend. Lin Yuan had no interest in the walnut that Road was going to give him. In the end, playing with the walnut was to let the skin and the walnut come into full contact. The walnut absorbed the grease from the player's hand and changed its appearance. Lin Yuan did not want to use his palm to feel something that had been soaked in the man's sweat for 7 years. Even if the appearance of this pair of walnuts was not bad. A Class 2 creation master would not be able to nurture a silver/epic object-holding walnut. To nurture a silver/epic walnut, one would need at least a low-rank Class 4 creation master. There were no low-rank Class 4 creation masters in Nanmu City. This meant that this pair of silver/epic walnuts must have been bought by Road at a high price. Lin Yuan thought about the pursuit of walnuts by those antique enthusiasts in his previous life. Lin Yuan roughly speculated that the price of the walnut should be the lower the grade and the higher the quality, the more expensive it would be. Perhaps the low-level high-quality walnut itself was a luxury in the Divine Wood Federation. Lin Yuan intended to ask Road about this conjecture. If that was the case, it would be the same as Lin Yuan finding a way to make money. I have my own pet. Since you've been playing with this pair of walnuts for 7 years, it's enough to show your love for this pair of walnuts. I never do things that take away other people's love. The base of your object storing walnuts is silver/epic. I wonder how much a pair of silver/epic object storing walnuts are worth. Upon hearing Lin Yuan's words, Road revealed a surprised expression. Walnuts were very popular in the Divine Wood Federation. Patriarchs and direct descendants of clans with a bit of status would definitely get a pair of walnut plates to play with. Speaking of the silver/epic quality walnut, he still felt his heart ache at the thought of it. For the sake of this pair of walnuts, Road basically used half of the Luo family's resources as a bargaining chip. In the end, he snatched the pair of silver/epic walnuts from the hands of the Meng family head. Because of this, the Luo family and the Meng family became enemies. The Luo family and the Meng family had been fighting for the past 7 years, and they had often tried to trip each other up. It was precisely because of the dispute over this pair of object-storing walnuts. However, this pair of object-storing walnuts had been fought over many times when Road had attended gatherings. It had helped Road gain face. If Lin Yuan was from the Deep Brahmin Federation's hidden wealthy clan, it was impossible for him not to know the price of the object-storing walnuts. Although the object-storing walnuts were popular in the Divine Wood Federation, the creation masters who really cultivated them were often the creation masters of the Deep Brahmin Federation. The creation masters of the Divine Wood Federation set up their own clans, and their time and experience were used to improve their clan's strength. They simply did not have that many resources to tilt on toys like the object-storing walnuts. If they were to be attacked because they were weaker than other creation master clans because of cultivating the object-storing walnuts, that would truly be losing their will to play with toys. Just as Road had some doubts about Lin Yuan, his gaze fell on Lin Yuan's belt. Lin Yuan's belt immediately dispelled Road's doubts. To be able to use such a luxurious item, who else could this white-clothed youth be if not a member of the Deep Brahmin Federation's hidden wealthy clan? Road explained. In order to exchange for low-grade and high-quality object-storing walnuts, one usually has to exchange items. If I have to convert them into Deep Brahmin dollars, I spent 8 million Deep Brahmin dollars when I bought this pair of object-storing walnuts. Upon hearing Road's price, Lin Yuan secretly clicked his tongue. The price of the object-storing walnuts was really high. The purchasing power of the Deep Brahmin dollars and Radiance dollars was basically equal. 8 million Radiance dollars could buy a relatively ordinary silver/epic Fey in the Radiance Federation. On the way from the Nanmu Square to the Luo family's residence, Lin Yuan had paid special attention to the Divine Wood Federation's prices. In terms of other items, the Divine Wood Federation and the Radiance Federation's prices were basically the same. However, there was such a huge difference in the purchasing power of the object-storing walnuts. On the one hand, the object-storing walnuts were indeed too popular in the Divine Wood Federation. On the other hand, it showed that the Divine Wood Federation's high-class creation masters were indeed in short supply. Lin Yuan thought to himself, "Can I empty the entire Divine Wood Federation's resources with just low-grade and high-quality object-storing walnuts? Not to mention the Bronze/Epic object-storing walnuts. Even if Lin Yuan wanted to take out the Bronze/Legend object-storing walnuts, it would be a piece of cake." However, in the Divine Wood Federation, Lin Yuan would not take out the Bronze/Legend object-storing walnuts. The Bronze/Legend object-storing walnuts were equivalent to telling the people of the Agawan continent. This world had the existence of the Bronze/Legend object-storing walnut tree. The existence of the Bronze/Legend object-storing walnut tree was equivalent to a Class 5 creation master. The appearance of a Class 5 creation master would make the imperial courts of the three major federations feel unprecedented pressure. At that time, the appearance of a Class 5 creation master might not necessarily become a common target of the three major federations. He might become the common enemy of the three major federations. This was completely unnecessary for Lin Yuan. However, if he only took out the Bronze/Epic object-storing walnuts, he would not have so many concerns. At that moment, Lin Yuan heard Road continue speaking. "I heard that a pair of Silver/Legend object-storing walnuts appeared in Oak City. That pair of Silver/Legend object-storing walnuts was auctioned for a high price of 31 million deep Brahman dollars. In the end, it was auctioned to Oak City's second-largest family, the Fan family." ABC. Chapter 1397. At this point, Road paused for a moment before speaking with a rather longing tone. "If it's a pair of Bronze/Epic walnuts, the price will increase by at least 10 million Brahman coins. It may also attract the members of the major families in Holy Forest City to appear and compete for it." Road couldn't stop talking and asked Lin Yuan curiously, "Sir, you said you also have a hobby. Sir, you said you also have a hobby. I wonder if you can take out your hobby and let me have an eye-opener." As soon as he finished speaking, Road immediately realized that there was something wrong with what he had said. He had really eaten a bear's heart and a leopard's gall. What was the identity of this white-clothed youth? How could he dare to ask to see the white-clothed youth's hobby? Lin Yuan didn't blame Road, but he couldn't take out his hobby in front of Road. He wasn't afraid of Road seeing it, but he was afraid of scaring him after seeing it. His string of elemental pearls made from Goddess Gerbera and Lan Lan Shan pearls was a treasure that even Class 5 creation masters couldn't nurture. As long as Lin Yuan took out such a thing in the Divine Wood Federation, he would immediately become the target of public criticism. Road felt that he had violated a taboo and didn't dare to continue speaking. Luo Ye had already walked over with a fruit platter. There were only a small portion of all kinds of fruits in the fruit platter. More than 30 kinds of fresh fruits were placed in the fruit platter, giving off a tempting fruity fragrance. The entire room was filled with the sweet fragrance of flowers and fruits. The crushed ice at the bottom of the bowl and plate made these freshly picked fruits look more moist. Lin Yuan thought, the Divine Wood Federation is indeed a federation rich in plant phase. Lin Yuan hadn't eaten a small half of the fruits in this fruit platter. He could take a part of the phase that produced these fruits and cultivate them in the swamp world as a food-type material reserve. After Luo Ye put the fruit platter on the table, she took out 2 small trees that were 4 meters tall. Although these 2 small trees were only 4 meters tall, the diameter of the tree trunk was nearly half a meter long. 2 people needed to stretch their arms together to hug the tree trunk. The thickness of such a tree trunk was not proportional to its height. It made the 2 small trees look a little funny. However, Lin Yuan knew that after the height of a tree reached a certain level, there would be no obvious change. The thickness of the trunk had a lot to do with the age of the tree. With a diameter of nearly half a meter, it meant that these 2 walnut trees might really be 300 years old, just as Road said. Lin Yuan didn't stand on ceremony and accepted the 2 walnut trees that Luo Ye had given him. During the meal, Lin Yuan deliberately asked Luo Ye if she had a fei like the clear young flower that could produce chi phenomena. What surprised Lin Yuan was that the Luo family didn't have such a fei. However, he found out from Luo Ye where to obtain the clear young flower, mist wind grass, snow crystal orchid, een fog sunflower, and other feis that could change the weather. Such fays were usually used by Class 3 creation masters and above to decorate gardens or indoor environments. 7 years ago, the Luo clan had a few pots of snow crystal orchids and fog sunflowers. However, these snow crystal orchids and fog sunflowers were exchanged for the pair of silver/epic walnuts. From Luo Ya's words, he knew that this fay that could produce weather changes was not cheap. However, regardless of whether it was noble or lowly, Lin Yuan did not take it to heart. In any case, no matter how expensive it was, the bronze/epic walnuts could easily be settled. After understanding the value of fays that could produce weather changes, Lin Yuan did not intend to ask Zhang Tong and Jian Li again during the evening reception. Since the Luo family could obtain such things before, it meant that they were not considered rare. In a big city like Oak City, he could use the sincere merchant caravan's relationship with equivalent money or supplies. He could easily obtain large quantities from the Deep Frost Chamber of Commerce. At that time, even if Gray did not absorb the outside world's chi phenomena, it could still smoothly increase its strength. After the meal, Lin Yuan rejected Luo Ya and Rhodes' invitation to stay. After making an appointment to go to the Zhang family at night, Lin Yuan and Lu Jie returned to the treehouse where they were staying. Lin Yuan immediately entered the Spirit Lock spatial zone and prepared to study how to nurture these 2 walnut trees. Xueqi had left the range of Hui's coverage. Xueqi, which was in the Divine Wood Federation, started a live broadcast. Xueqi, which could not live broadcast, tried its best to stay on the phoenix perching Chinese parasol tree, absorbing the energy in the exceptional fire to temper itself. In order to reach Myth 2 as soon as possible and transform into a human form, Xueqi had to do its best. Lin Yuan knew that Xueqi was working hard and wanted to hold a fan meeting. Genius and the Wind-Speed Rapid Antelope were playing with a cloud of mist. The Wind-Speed Rapid Antelope stood in front of Genius to prevent the cloud from touching Genius. It was like a game of eagle catching a chick. Upon seeing that Lin Yuan had arrived in the Spirit Lock spatial zone, the cloud of mist immediately rushed toward him. Lin Yuan opened his hands and closed them when the mist was close. All of a sudden, he hugged Gray to his chest. Lin Yuan said as he stroked Gray's wings. Gray, wait for another 2 days. Even if you don't exit the Spirit Lock spatial zone, you will be able to increase your strength in the Spirit Lock spatial zone. When you reach Diamond X/Legend and comprehend the willpower rune, you will become a fantasy breed. When you go to the outside world to absorb the atmosphere, you will be shielded by the will of the world. You don't have to worry about being discovered. When Gray heard Lin Yuan's words, it happily flopped around in Lin Yuan's arms and played to its heart's content. At that moment, Genius arrived beside Lin Yuan. After carefully inspecting the 2 walnut trees beside Lin Yuan's hand, he said, I'm not sure if I'll be able to find them. Lin Yuan, nurturing these 2 walnut trees doesn't require pure spirit chi at all times like nurturing the elemental shellfish. If you want the material-containing walnut tree to bear more material-containing walnuts, all you need to do is to constantly provide the material-containing walnut tree with nutritious liquid. App. It's really not bad. It's worth installing. It actually supports both Android and Apple phones. Currently, Fat Orange and I have buried over 40 types of swamp soil on each hectare of land in the swamp world. It's just right to use this land to nurture the walnut trees. If we use the life form sacrificial fire to roast these walnut trees, we will be able to produce a batch of fruits in a week. But it will take at least a month for the fruits to ripen. Lin Yuan had a delighted expression. With Genius around, it saved him the trouble of using true data to investigate the walnut trees. If the walnut trees could really produce fruits within 7 days, even if the fruits were not ripe, they still contained sufficient spatial energy. It was enough for Lin Yuan to use as a consumable to travel between the Radiance Federation and the Mysterious Federation through the spatial tunnel. However, if he plucked the fruits before they were ripe, he wouldn't be able to obtain a complete walnut tree. Lin Yuan didn't mind at all. Of the 2 walnut trees that Luo Ya had given Lin Yuan, one had fruits while the other didn't. Lin Yuan stored the object walnut tree into the diamond face storage box and handed it to Genius. 166 Reading Network. Chapter 1398. He planned to let Genius nurture it in the swamp world. As for this walnut tree with fruits, Lin Yuan planned to take care of it personally. He nurtured it all the way to Bronze X/Epic. When the walnut tree was upgraded, the quality of the fruits would also be upgraded. This way, Lin Yuan would have the first batch of high-quality bronze object walnuts. He circulated his spiritual power and placed his palm on the abnormally thick trunk of the object storage walnut tree. In just a few minutes, the walnut tree's quality had risen from common to epic. The fruits that had been produced were even more plump than before, and their volume had also increased by a size. When a walnut is ripe, its surface will be covered with a layer of green peel. Only when this layer of green peel was removed could the original appearance of the walnut be revealed. Lin Yuan counted and found that there were exactly 60 walnuts on this walnut tree. If he was lucky, he should be able to get 30 pairs. He naturally did not need to personally peel off the fruit. Lin Yuan said to the Wind Speed Rapid Antelope. Wind Speed Rapid Antelope, use your wind blades to cut down these walnuts from the trees. Then use the storm to pick up the walnuts that have fallen to the ground. Upon hearing Lin Yuan's instructions, the Wind Speed Rapid Antelope immediately took action. The material of the walnut was extremely hard. Even if the Wind Speed Rapid Antelope used its full strength, it would still find it hard to leave a mark on the walnut. However, the green peel that covered the walnut was soft. Under the attack of the Wind Speed Rapid Antelope storm, the green peel would be completely peeled off by the storm. It kept the walnut in an unusually clean state. Soon, the green peel was torn into dust by the storm. 60 scarlet walnuts were spinning in the air. The sizes of these walnuts were similar, but the patterns were different. Thus, he did not need to spend much effort on matchmaking. He would be able to concoct 30 pairs of bronze/epic walnuts. Lin Yuan smacked his lips as he looked at the vermilion walnuts. The bronze/epic walnut storage and the bronze walnut storage that Lin Yuan had seen before were simply two different things. If this kind of vermilion object was played on a walnut plate, it was very likely that it would be coiled into a bright red color with a golden luster. No wonder he was so sought after by the nobles in the Divine Wood Federation. After putting away these 30 pairs of bronze/epic walnuts, he tried to cut off a branch and injected a large amount of pure spirit chi into it. Within a few minutes, the branch that contained the walnut had grown a dense growth of fine roots. As he continued to strengthen it, it grew into a normal walnut tree. In the end, he raised it all the way to bronze/flawless. After Lin Yuan had split and nurtured the object-containing walnut tree, its height would be the same as Luo Ya's object-containing walnut tree. However, the trunk was only as thick as Lin Yuan's wrist. This made him realize that the object-containing walnut tree that he had nurtured with pure spirit chi could not replace the object-containing walnut tree that had grown naturally for over 300 years. This was the accumulation of lifespan, and it was not something that could be achieved overnight with the cultivation of pure spiritual energy. This was another layer of charm that life bestowed to Phase. Lin Yuan put the bronze/flawless object-containing walnut tree that he had just nurtured into the face storage box and thought to himself, if I want to nurture an object-containing walnut tree, I still have to have the Luo family's object-containing walnut tree that has grown for a certain age. He looked at the time and found that there was only half an hour left before the appointed time. He hurriedly left the Spirit Lock spatial zone. He found that Lu Jie and Ji Feng had both taken off their black armor and black robes. They had changed into a set of gorgeous clothes suitable for attending banquets. Since they were attending a banquet, wearing gorgeous clothes was the most basic banquet etiquette. Wearing gorgeous clothes had nothing to do with whether the banquet was important or not. It was just a manifestation of personal cultivation. This was what Lin Yuan and Lu Jie had learned when chatting with the Sincere Caravan. It was the common local customs of the Divine Wood Federation or the entire Agawan continent. At that moment, Lu Jie was wearing a purple ceremonial robe with an embroidered copper cauldron embellished with hundreds of insect beast totems. Ji Feng was wearing a dark blue ceremonial robe embroidered with waves patterns and WYRMS leaping in the waves patterns. Since Lu Jie and Ji Feng had chosen dark colors, Lin Yuan took out the clothes that when you had known he was coming to the Divine Wood Federation. They were specially designed according to the Divine Wood Federation's aesthetic standards. This luxurious robe was the same as the spirit chi clothing that Lin Yuan had worn before, which was white. However, all the edges of the ceremonial robe that needed to be sewn with silk threads were added with a circle of black tiger fur on the neck of the diamond/fantasy breed dark-eyed scorpion tiger. The white was elegant, and the black was grand. The black tiger fur and the white brocade collided, giving this luxurious robe an indescribable noble aura. The white brocade robe was pieced together with the scales of the dark-eyed scorpion tiger's tail into a black mountain stream. The center of the mountain stream was embroidered with white moonstone into a majestic white tiger. The middle of the moonstone was covered with a layer of fine black tiger fur. These black tiger hairs seemed to have drawn tiger stripes in the white moonstone. The upper half of the brocade robe had a white tiger roar that shook the valley, while the lower half was embroidered with 34 kinds of tiger totems using completely jade-textured white sandalwood. These embroideries using completely jade-textured white sandalwood on the white brocade were extremely inconspicuous and difficult to be seen at a glance. However, Lin Yuan's moon-white boots were also inlaid with 2 pearls polished with nightmare gold. Nightmare spirit gold was an extremely expensive consumable type of spirit material. It would slowly release spirit energy into the surroundings. The spirit chi released by the nightmare spirit stone was enough to make the lower half of the brocade robe completely jade-textured, and the 34 kinds of tiger totems embroidered with white sandalwood emitted a jade-textured glow. After changing into this robe, Lin Yuan left the room and prepared to meet Lu Jie and Ji Feng. Lu Jie was used to seeing Lin Yuan's handsome appearance. Lin Yuan was also a natural clothes rack. Even if he wore casual clothes, he wouldn't be able to stand out. Even if he wore ordinary clothes, his temperament would not be much worse than wearing luxurious clothes. Lu Jie was used to Lin Yuan. However, Ji Feng, who had little contact with Lin Yuan, was stunned when he saw Lin Yuan wearing luxurious clothes. Looking at the youthful Lin Yuan, Ji Feng suddenly thought of himself when he was 17 or 18 years old. At that time, he had also been the Radiance Federation's top genius and had been proud of his talent. However, compared to the current Lin Yuan, he was really not good enough. After 10 years of fleeing, Ji Feng knew very little about the Radiance Federation's younger generation. Ji Feng did not know if the current younger generation was as outstanding as Lin Yuan, or if Lin Yuan had already led the Radiance Federation's younger generation. Along the way from the treehouse to the Luo residence, the passers-by's eyes lit up when they saw Lin Yuan and his group. The people who lived in Nanmu City had never seen such a celestial being. Chapter 1399. However, these pedestrians didn't dare to look at Lin Yuan boldly. In the Divine Wood Federation, peeking at nobles and making them uncomfortable would result in punishment. No one was willing to cause unnecessary trouble because of a few more glances. If Lin Yuan wasn't so stunning, these pedestrians might have lowered their heads and hurried away when they saw him. Luo Ye had dressed up carefully for the reception at the Zhang family's auditorium. When she went to welcome Lin Yuan, Luo Ye had already put on makeup. She had even used the most expensive cosmetics in her hands. However, in order to present her best state, Luo Ye still removed the makeup she had previously put on. Then, she put on a more detailed makeup and even drew an exquisite blue flower on her forehead. Looking at herself in the mirror, Luo Ye's mouth curled up in satisfaction. Then, she took her favorite purple fur and gently combed it with a comb. However, the more she combed the purple fur, the heavier her mood became. Luo Ye thought of the white spirit chi clothes and the priceless belt on his waist when she saw Lin Yuan today. If she put on the purple fur and stood next to Lin Yuan, she would look like a poor girl. This purple fur was silently telling Luo Ye how big the gap between her and Lin Yuan was. Fortunately, after Luo Ye recognized the reality, her thoughts changed slightly. She was no longer thinking about how to like Lin Yuan, but how to ride on Lin Yuan's chariot forever. Given Lin Yuan's identity and strength, he had the absolute right to speak in Nanmu City. If Lin Yuan was interested in Nanmu City, could the Luo family become Lin Yuan's representative? Could they help Lin Yuan deal with matters related to Nanmu City? This way, she could at least use this opportunity to keep in touch with Lin Yuan. Before Luo Ye could put on the purple fur, she heard Rhode's voice coming from the door. "Little Ye, Lord Lin Yuan is here. Hurry up and pack up." Luo Ye could clearly hear the shock in Rhode's tone. Luo Ye didn't care so much and ran out with the purple fur. As soon as she saw Lin Yuan, Luo Ye couldn't move her eyes away from him. He was an elegant young master in a snow-white coat and black fur coat. He had an elegant appearance and a calm expression, showing the demeanor of a noble. This made Luo Ye subconsciously hide her favorite purple fur behind her. When Lin Yuan saw Luo Ye's reaction, he stepped forward and shook his hand. A light purple fur coat appeared in Lin Yuan's hands. Lin Yuan said as he handed the light purple fur coat to Luo Ye. This fur coat came from a diamond purple plum jumping deer. This fur coat is enough for you to make a cloak before the banquet. Take it as a thank you gift for the 2 walnut trees you gave me. When Luo Ye heard his words, she suddenly felt a little sour in her heart. He had only given Lin Yuan 2 bronze/normal object containing walnut trees. However, Lin Yuan had returned the diamond fey fur coat to her as a gift. This meant that Lin Yuan did not want to have anything to do with him. In the end, Luoya reached out her hand and took the lavender fur coat from Lin Yuan with slightly red eyes. Thank you. I've wanted to give you those 2 walnut trees for a long time. You saved my life before. No matter what, I owe you a favor. While Luoya was feeling increasingly bitter, Road was beaming with joy. 2 bronze normal quality walnut trees were exchanged for a diamond fur coat. This was a great deal. From this point alone, Road could tell that Lin Yuan was a very generous person. Or it could be said that a diamond fur coat was nothing to him. He was wondering if there was anything else he could give to Lin Yuan. While exchanging for some precious resources from Lin Yuan said, "You're right. You said that the Luo family has a total of 26 walnut trees. Are these walnut trees more than 300 years old? If these walnut trees are more than 300 years old, I want to trade this one for the 26 walnut trees of your Luo family." After saying that, he took out the bronze X/flawless walnut tree that he had just nurtured in the Spirit Lock spatial zone from the diamond face storage box. When he saw that Lin Yuan had taken out a walnut tree with such a thin trunk, he was shocked. Road was a little disappointed. A walnut tree with such a thin trunk was less than 5 years old. A walnut tree that was less than 5 years old could not bear walnuts. What was the use of holding such a walnut tree in his hand? But when Road took a closer look at the walnut tree in Lin Yuan's hand, which was only as thick as a wrist, Road could not help but take a deep breath. Then, his face revealed an ecstatic expression. "Lord Lin Yuan, are you sure you want to use this bronze/flawless walnut tree to exchange for our Luo family's 26 walnut trees? A bronze/flawless walnut tree would definitely bear bronze/flawless walnut trees. A bronze/flawless walnut tree could only be nurtured by a Class 3 creation master." Lin Yuan was using something of this level to exchange for his family's walnut tree. He had picked up a big bargain. This bronze/flawless walnut tree that was as thick as a wrist would become the Luo family's real money tree after a few years of nurturing. Although bronze/flawless walnuts were not as expensive as silver/epic walnuts, it would not be difficult for them to be auctioned for 3 million deep Brahmin coins. It would not be difficult for a pair to be auctioned for 3 million deep Brahmin coins. Road had already thought of releasing the news that the Luo family had a bronze/flawless walnut tree. In Nanmu City and the surrounding cities, there would be many people breaking their heads to order a pair of bronze/flawless walnuts from him. Road immediately went to the backyard and uprooted all 26 walnut trees. Looking at the 26 walnut trees that Road had given him, Lin Yuan found that 8 of them bore fruit. Therefore, Lin Yuan left the 8 object walnut trees that bore fruits behind. He then placed the remaining 18 walnut trees in the Spirit Lock spatial zone and asked Genius to bring them to the swamp world to be planted. As for these 8 walnut trees that bore fruit, Lin Yuan planned to nurture them to epic quality first. He would then give them to Genius to bring to the swamp world to nurture. The bronze/epic walnut tree that Lin Yuan had just enhanced had borne 60 walnuts for him. Including the walnuts produced by these 8 walnut trees, Lin Yuan should have 540 bronze/epic walnuts in his hand. That was 270 pairs. The rarer something was, the greater its value. Every pair of bronze/epic walnuts had a sky-high price in the Divine Wood Federation. 270 pairs of walnuts were enough for Lin Yuan to use for a long time. End of this chapter. Chapter 1400. In less than half an hour, Luoya had changed into a fur cloak and boots made from the Luo family's tailor's diamond purple plum jumping deer fur. After changing into clothes made from diamond fey fur, Luoya looked much better than before. After all, the fur of the diamond purple plum jumping deer was comparable to the white fur coat that Jianli was wearing. It might even be better than Jianli's fur coat. Under Luoya and Road's lead, Lin Yuan did not ride Blackie. Instead, he rode on Lu Jie's hurricane owlet moths. The 4 hurricane owlet moths controlled the wind elements around Lin Yuan and carried him forward in the air. It was as though Lin Yuan was standing in the air. In Lin Yuan's opinion, this was a very low-key travel method, but in Road and Luoya's eyes, it was shocking. Along the way, Road and Luoya were constantly amazed by Lin Yuan's and Lu Jie's foundation. The 3 of them used 12 diamond moth fays as transportation. These 12 moth fays were not fantasy breeds and could not compare to the black flood dragon. However, it was absolutely unimaginable for Road and Luoya, who lived in Nanmu City. Was this the life of a hidden aristocratic clan's descendant? 2 sets of clothes of immeasurable value and 2 traveling methods that involved diamond phase in a day. This was simply too luxurious and extravagant. Jian Li, Zhang Tong, and the Zhang family's patriarch were waiting outside the auditorium to welcome Lin Yuan. For this reception, Zhang Tong and the Zhang family's patriarch had changed into the luxurious clothes that they usually wore when attending grand gatherings. However, after seeing Lin Yuan, Ji Feng, and Lu Jie, Jian Li, Zhang Tong, and the others suddenly felt that there was actually no difference whether they wore luxurious clothes or not. That was right. Their luxurious clothes could not even compare to the casual clothes they wore during the day. There was nothing to be ashamed of if they could not compare to luxurious clothes. The way the 3 of them dressed and traveled to this banquet let everyone present know who the real distinguished guests of this banquet were. After receiving Zhang Tong's call, the Zhang family's patriarch, Zhang Xian, was very disappointed with Jian Li's approach. During this period of time, Zhang Xian had been weighing the pros and cons of relying on the Jian family. From the rotten venomous snake flood dragon incident, it was enough to show that relying on the Jian family was not reliable at all. At a critical moment, the Zhang family was likely to be abandoned by the Jian family. The reason why the Zhang family relied on the Jian family was to seek development. If the Jian family couldn't meet the expectations of the Zhang family, no matter how powerful the Jian family was, there was no need for the Zhang family to rely on the Jian family. Of course, he still had to keep up appearances and lick Jian Li's boots. It was better not to let Jian Li notice anything. The night was waning, and the nightmare spirit gold beads embedded on Lin Yuan's white boots released spirit qi that permeated the 34 tiger-shaped totems embroidered with completely jade-textured white sandalwood patterns. It made Lin Yuan feel as though 34 white tigers with different postures were crawling under his feet. With every step Lin Yuan took, he would have an indescribable aura. It was as if a white tiger was accompanying him. Upon seeing Lin Yuan, Zhang Tong prepared to welcome him as the host. However, just as Zhang Tong was about to step forward, he was stopped by Jian Li. Jian Li quickly stepped forward and walked to Lin Yuan's side. "How should I address you, young master?" Young master's attire is really a little out of place in Nanmu City. Even in Holy Forest City, young master's luxurious attire is definitely like this. As he spoke, Jian Li gave Lin Yuan a thumbs up with a bright smile on his face, making it clear that he wanted to befriend Lin Yuan. Upon hearing that, Lin Yuan couldn't help but raise his brows. This set of luxurious attire could only be considered to be above average among all of his clothes. Yu had recently made a lot of clothes for Lin Yuan, and those clothes were even embroidered with heavenly maiden-grade elemental pearls. Compared to those, this set of luxurious attire was much inferior. Jian Li's words definitely had some suspicion that he was trying to befriend and curry favor with Lin Yuan. However, Jian Li's words were enough for Lin Yuan to understand the living conditions of those aristocrats in the Divine Wood Federation's capital, Holy Forest City. As the 83rd sequence of the Divine Wood 100, the people Jian Li came into contact with were definitely not the top of the Divine Wood Federation. However, Jian Li's words just now showed that he had seen similar luxurious attire. This was enough to prove that the aristocrats of the Divine Wood Federation were extravagant. However, the more extravagant these aristocrats were, the better it was. The more extravagant these noble descendants were, the more expensive the bronze/epic walnuts in Lin Yuan's hands would be. Lin Yuan didn't ignore Jian Li's goodwill. "My surname is Lin," Jian Li replied with a smile. "Young Master Lin, today at Nanmu Square, everything was a misunderstanding. Please don't take it to heart. If young Master Lin goes to St. Forest City in the future, please inform me. Who knows, I might be able to help young Master Lin in some matters." Jian Li went straight to the point and expressed his purpose. Because Jian Li knew that a person who could wear such luxurious clothes wouldn't be in the mood to chat with him. If he didn't get to the point, he might be annoyed. Jian Li did not clearly state his identity in this sentence. However, Luo Ye had already told Lin Yuan about her identity. Jian Li's seemingly friendly words indicated what he could do for Lin Yuan if they were friends. This way of communication was very popular among the nobles of the Divine Wood Federation. Lin Yuan was originally thinking about how to get in touch with Jian Li at the banquet. Now he hadn't done anything, and Jian Li had taken the initiative to make friends with him. "I'll go to St. Forest City in the future. If there's anything, I naturally won't be polite and will trouble young Master Jian." Upon hearing Lin Yuan's response, Jian Li hurriedly turned sideways and said, "The Zhang family's banquet is well organized. I deliberately asked the Zhang family to add a few dishes. Young Master Lin, take a look and see if they suit your taste. While turning sideways, Jian Li's gaze landed on Luo Ya. With just one glance, Jian Li could see how extraordinary the purple fur cloak on Luo Ya was. The dark purple cloak that Luo Ya had been wearing had rough and dry fur, making her look like a country girl. But now, Luo Ya's light purple fur coat actually emitted a faint light purple soft light against the starlight in the night. It seemed that the light purple fur coat on Luo Ya was definitely from a diamond fae. It was impossible for the Luo family to obtain such a fur coat. A platinum ferocious beast was enough to destroy the Luo family. Luo Ya had just invited Lin Yuan to the Luo family as a guest in the morning, and she was now wearing such a diamond light purple fur coat. The origin of this light purple fur coat was self-evident. Jian Li sighed inwardly at the Luo family's good luck. A diamond rank fur coat of such quality would cost at least 1 million Brahmin coins to bid for. As a direct descendant of an aristocratic family in St. Forest City, the fur coat he used was only of this standard. End of this chapter. Chapter 1401. Zhang Tong and Zhang Xian had already noticed the light purple fur coat that Luo Ya was wearing. Zhang Xian immediately understood how he should treat the Luo family in the future. In the future, the Luo family would have to support this Nanmu Cheng. However, before Zhang Xian and Zhang Tong could feel envious of the Luo clan, they were infuriated by Jian Li's words. This was an apology reception hosted by the Zhang family to welcome young Master Lin. Zhang Tong had wanted to apologize earlier, but you had stopped him. Now, it was as if you, Jian Li, had become the host of the banquet. What do you mean you deliberately added a lot to this banquet? You never showed up in the hall all afternoon. This cocktail party that the Zhang family had arranged with real money had instead become a wedding dress for Jian Li. This caused Zhang Tong and Zhang Xian to feel even more indignant. However, neither of them had the guts to show their dissatisfaction to Jian Li. However, this also made Zhang Tong realize that it wasn't just the Jian family that he couldn't rely on. Jian Li was also a person that he definitely couldn't befriend. After entering the auditorium, Lin Yuan realized that apart from all kinds of spirit fruits, there were all kinds of roasted spirit beast meat. When paired with the red and yellow sauce, Lin Yuan didn't have much of an appetite. Lin Yuan, who had come to the Divine Wood Federation to train for a period of time, had eaten barbecue many times. Compared to the barbecued meat and spirit fruits, Lin Yuan preferred to eat the exquisite side dishes and snacks made by Lu Jie and Zhong Zhe. Jian Li stood by Lin Yuan's side for the entire night, thinking of ways to strike up a conversation with Lin Yuan and speculating his identity. He wanted to see which hidden aristocratic clan in the deep lush federation he came from. However, the more he tried, the more dizzy Jian Li felt. Sensing that Lu Jie was obviously a little impatient, Jian Li Tsai walked up to the Zhang family's head, Zhang Xian. He was prepared to discuss the cooperation with Zhang Xian. Upon seeing Jian Li leave Lin Yuan's side, Zhang Tong hurried over. He bowed deeply to Lin Yuan and said, "You're right. Young Master Lin, thank you for forgiving the corrosive serpent flood dragon at the Nanmu Square. This is an apology gift from my father." After saying that, Zhang Tong took out a wooden box and solemnly handed it to Lin Yuan. When Lin Yuan saw the wooden box that Zhang Tong handed over, he revealed a playful expression. Lin Yuan had long seen through the twists and turns on the Nanmu Plaza. If he didn't have the strength, he was afraid that after the rotten snake Jiao dragon ate Luo Yaran Road, he wouldn't be able to survive. He would also become a meal for the corrosive venomous flood dragon. This apology cocktail prepared for him would become Jian Li's welcoming party. At this time, he might have already been pulled out by the corrosive poisonous flood dragon. Ji Feng, who was standing behind Lin Yuan, stepped forward and opened the wooden box in Zhang Tong's hand. Lin Yuan found a pair of bronze/flawless object storage walnuts lying in this wooden box. It was likely that the Zhang family's patriarch, Zhang Xian, had personally nurtured it. A pair of apologetic items worth around 3 million Brahmin coins was enough to show the sincerity of the Zhang family. However, Lin Yuan was not interested in this pair of bronze/flawless object-holding walnuts. Lin Yuan reached out to grab the pair of walnuts and played with them. The two walnuts collided and let out a crisp sound. Upon seeing Lin Yuan take the pair of walnuts, Zhang Tong's face immediately lit up. However, when Zhang Tong looked up, he saw Lin Yuan throw the pair of bronze/flawless object-holding walnuts back to him. "I'm not interested in your Zhang family's apologetic gift. This banquet is so boring. If there's nothing else, we'll take our leave. Lin Yuan said this because this cocktail party was indeed boring. Secondly, Lin Yuan wanted to use this method to force Zhang Tong to reveal the Zhang family's purpose as soon as possible. If the Zhang family had no purpose, there would be no need to give him an apologetic gift. Since they wanted to give an apologetic gift to build a relationship, the Zhang family must have a motive. On the way from the underground palace to Nanmu City, Lin Yuan realized that Nanmu City's geographical location was very special. Outside Nanmu City was a boundless ironwood forest, which was considered a kind of cash crop. However, the ironwood's roots could penetrate 100 meters into the ground. In addition, it was very difficult for phase below silver to cut off a branch from the ironwood forest. This made it very difficult for Nanmu City to expand. As a result, Nanmu City became the southernmost border city of the Divine Wood Federation. One side of Nanmu City was a high mountain, while the other side was a rapid river. This made Nanmu City an isolated city between two natural barriers. In the future, once the forbidden area created by Silver Splendor was discovered by the world, the Divine Wood Federation's experts would want to explore the forbidden area. The only choice would be Nanmu City. As for the Iron Hammer Federation, Lin Yuan already had plans to borrow Teray's Iron Hoof tribe to apply to the Iron Hammer dynasty to divide the territory and build a majestic city. When the majestic city was built, the Iron Hammer Federation's people would want to explore the forbidden area. They would definitely rest in the city built by the Iron Hoof tribe. If Lin Yuan could control Nanmu City again, then the Iron Hammer Federation and the Divine Wood Federation would have any plans for the forbidden area. Lin Yuan would be able to know the news in advance and respond. Therefore, the moment he arrived at Nanmu City, Lin Yuan had the idea of controlling Nanmu City. If the Zhang family's request was helpful to his plan, Lin Yuan didn't mind helping the Zhang family. If the Zhang family's plan was different from his, Lin Yuan could completely suppress the Zhang family and help the Luo family rise. In the face of the walnut that Lin Yuan threw back, Zhang Tong hurriedly bowed and caught it. He was afraid that the sound of the walnut falling on the ground would attract Jian Li's attention. His father hadn't been able to tactfully reject the cooperation with Jian Li yet. If Jian Li knew that he was trying to rope in Lin Yuan, the Jian family would definitely become enemies with the Zhang family. Lin Yuan said that this reception was boring, which made Zhang Tong very anxious. Zhang Tong was still full of confidence. After all, he really couldn't think of anyone who would reject a gift of 2 or 3 million deep Brahmin coins. Lin Yuan's refusal made Zhang Tong panic for a moment. His request to Lin Yuan concerned the Zhang family's future. Once the opportunity slipped away, it would never come back. Zhang Tong steeled his heart and said frankly, "Young Master Lin, the Zhang family would like to discuss a cooperation with you." Young Master Lin, the Zhang family would like to discuss a cooperation with you. Young Master Lin, our Zhang family will provide resources for our Chamber of Commerce, and our Creation Master resources will all be at your service. Upon hearing that, Lin Yuan took out a pair of bronze/epic walnuts from the diamond face storage box. The vermilion walnuts rotated in Lin Yuan's palm and collided with each other, emitting a jade-like sound. Zhang Tong was stunned when he saw the walnuts that Lin Yuan had just taken out. I can't be mistaken, right? This is actually a pair of bronze/epic walnuts. Zhang Tong originally thought that Lin Yuan wasn't interested in his walnuts because he didn't have the habit of playing with walnuts as a member of the Deep Brahmin Federation. He had given the wrong gift. Only now did Zhang Tong realize that Lin Yuan simply didn't like his gift. ABC. Chapter 1402. However, he didn't know that the pair of bronze/epic walnuts that Lin Yuan had taken out had been auctioned for a high price. Or was it because Lin Yuan had the resources of a Class 4 creation master that could nurture a bronze/epic walnut tree? Looking at Lin Yuan's luxurious clothes, Zhang Tong felt that the latter was possible. The Deep Enlightenment Federation's hidden aristocratic clans all had the habit of spending a lot of money to consecrate high-class creation masters. Zhang Tong was afraid and excited at the same time. If the Zhang clan's cooperation with the Jian clan was like asking a tiger for its skin, then cooperating with Lin Yuan was like asking for a living under a giant dragon. Asking a tiger for its skin, as long as there was an opportunity, one could still escape unscathed. However, if one were to make a living under a giant dragon, a single sneeze from the giant dragon would shatter one's body. Only a giant dragon like Lin Yuan could bring a bright future to the Zhang clan. While Zhang Tong was thinking, Lin Yuan said, Class 3 creation masters aren't very useful to me. Compared to your Zhang clan's strength, I value Nanmu City more. Zhang Tong's expression froze when he heard Lin Yuan's words. Zhang Tong's expression froze when he heard Lin Yuan's words. Zhang Tong knew that Lin Yuan was expressing his stance. After clearly telling him that the Zhang clan's creation master resources weren't attractive, he also expressed what he really needed. Zhang Tong immediately said, "The Zhang clan is the strongest in Nanmu City. The 4 Class 2 creation master clans can only rely on our Zhang clan. The Zhang clan is the strongest in Nanmu City, and the 4 Class 2 creation master clans can only rely on our Zhang clan. To be honest, young Master Lin, our Zhang clan plans to clean up Nanmu City's resources next month and annex those Class 2 creation master clans. The Huang clan and our Zhang clan are in-laws, and they have long been on the same side as us. The Meng clan, Li clan, and Luo clan were originally targets to be cleaned up. The Luo clan's Luo Ya is on good terms with you, so our Zhang clan will definitely treat the Luo clan well." Zhang Tong wanted to continue but was interrupted by Ji Feng, who was standing beside Lin Yuan. "Your Zhang clan's advantage is nothing in our young master's eyes. Since you know our young master is on good terms with the Luo clan, why do you think our young master will cooperate with your Zhang clan and not support the Luo clan? If our young master wishes for it, the Luo family's family head, Luo De, will be able to obtain a pinnacle diamond fei tonight. He will be able to compete with your Zhang family's platinum/fantasy breed corrosive venomous snake flood dragon. Even if the Luo family has another Class 4 creation master, it will be a small matter for our young master. Your Zhang family chose to annex those Class 2 creation master clans for the sake of loyalty and didn't work together with them. As the young master of the Zhang family, I think you should be very clear about what our young master wants." Zhang Tong was so shocked by Ji Feng's words that he was momentarily speechless. Zhang Tong believed that Road would obtain a pinnacle diamond fei tonight. It was truly shocking that Lin Yuan could allow a Class 4 creation master to oversee the Luo family. Class 4 creation masters were all influential figures at the top of the clouds. When did Class 4 creation masters become so cheap? Zhang Tong glanced at his father, who was currently conversing with Jian Li, and gritted his teeth as he made up his mind. He spoke to Lin Yuan with a sincere tone. "Young Master Lin, before the banquet, Father told me that I can make decisions on behalf of the Zhang family. My Zhang family is willing to submit to you." Just as Zhang Tong finished speaking, Luo Ya, who had been secretly watching Lin Yuan, walked over with a wine glass and said softly to Lin Yuan, "Lin Yuan, if you trust me, I can help you look after the Zhang family." "Lin Yuan, if you trust me, I can help you look after the Zhang family." Lin Yuan had heard Luo Ya introduce the factions in Nanmu City. However, only the Zhang family, Huang family, and Luo family were participating in tonight's banquet. It turned out that the Zhang family was planning to make a move on the other 2 families and had already excluded them from Nanmu City's influence. Lin Yuan trusted Luo Ya, so he asked her to represent the Luo family to look after the Zhang family. With the 2 families supervising and restraining each other, Lin Yuan could easily control Nanmu City. Lin Yuan tossed the pair of bronze/epic walnuts to Luo Ya and Zhang Tong respectively. Luo Ya and Zhang Tong were overjoyed when they received the walnuts. However, the 2 of them were overjoyed for different reasons. They weren't overjoyed because of the value of the bronze/epic walnuts. Zhang Tong was happy that Lin Yuan had accepted the Zhang family. The Zhang family would soar in the future. On the other hand, Luo Ya was happy that she had finally touched something that Lin Yuan's palm had touched. No matter what happened in the future, Luo Ya would treasure this walnut for the rest of her life. Lin Yuan said softly as he looked at Zhang Tong and Luo Ya. "After the 2 of you clean up Nanmu City, I will make a pair of walnuts for the 2 of you. In the future, I will think of a way to have the Chamber of Commerce establish a branch in Nanmu City. For now, all you need to do is develop as before." After saying that, he turned around and left the banquet with Lu Jie and Maple. Looking at the night sky, Lin Yuan revealed a smile. From now on, Nanmu City would be under his control. Ji Feng, who had just returned to the treehouse, had a glint in his eyes. He said to Lin Yuan, "Don't worry. Young master, I've found the person you asked me to find, Ling Lian. According to your instructions, after Ling Lian found her, she has been secretly observing her and has not made any contact with her. Right now, she's eating the rotten fruit that she found in the trash can. There are many abrasions on her body, and one of her legs seems to be broken. In just an hour, The injury to her soul has acted up twice. Speaking up to this point, Ji Feng thought of himself. It could be said that this person was in the same situation as him. However, his situation in the Divine Wood Federation was much better than that of the woman who was struggling to survive in the Divine Wood Federation. Lin Yuan had expected Su Iren to be in such a miserable state. The lives of ordinary people in the Shenmue Federation were already so difficult, let alone a scavenger like Su Iren. After sleeping tonight, he planned to head to Oak City the next morning. Since Ji Feng's water lily had already found Su Iren, there was no need for him to call her. Tomorrow, Lin Yuan would meet with the current Dark Envoy and experience the elegance of the current Dark Envoy. In the treehouse, Lin Yuan felt very comfortable at first. But late at night, because the plants would breathe out water vapor, the treehouse slowly became damp. Lin Yuan had no choice but to release Bai Lan and let her control the water vapor. Only then did the inside of the treehouse become dry again. After sleeping in the treehouse once, Lin Yuan expressed that he did not want to sleep there a second time. The next morning, after eating breakfast prepared by Lu Jia, Lin Yuan, Lu Jia, and Ji Feng were ready to embark on the journey to Oak City. However, Lin Yuan did not summon Blackie this time. Instead, he let Lu Jia and Ji Feng enter the treasure cave Golden Cicada's skin and stomach pouch. The hurricane owlet moths that Lu Jia had let the insect queen produce had already carefully arranged the ethereal jellyfish's tentacles on the road from Nanmu City to Oak City. These tentacles would automatically form tentacle nodes, and Lin Yuan only needed to use the node teleportation ability. He would be able to go back and forth between Nanmu City and Oak City in a short time. ABC. Chapter 1403. In less than 5 minutes, Lin Yuan silently appeared in Oak City. Oak City was indeed a big city in the Divine Wood Federation. Its streets were more than 3 times wider than Nanmu City. The tree houses in Nanmu City were at most 12 to 13 meters tall, with 3 or 4 floors. However, the tree houses in Oak City were all like tree castles, and it was normal for them to be 20 to 30 meters tall. Not far from Lin Yuan, there was a giant tree fortress that was nearly 100 meters tall. The sign hanging in front of the tree fortress had the words, "Flourishing Prosperity Chamber of Commerce," written on it. In just a short while, many people had already entered and left the entrance of the tree fortress with the Flourishing Prosperity Chamber of Commerce's signboard. There were 2 kinds of people entering and leaving the Flourishing Chamber of Commerce. The other type were travel-worn, black-haired, black-eyed caravan members from the Deep Venom Federation. The other type were the nobles of Oak City dressed in exquisite clothing. He was very interested in the chambers of commerce that were controlled by the reclusive noble families in the Deep Lush Federation. He intended to see if he could use any connections here. He wanted to buy plant phase that could produce weather phenomena. Lin Yuan released Lu Jia and Ji Feng from the artifact and led them to the entrance of the Flourishing Prosperity Chamber of Commerce. 2 blue-clothed attendants were standing at the entrance of Flourishing Prosperity Chamber of Commerce. These 2 blue-clothed attendants were carefully watching the guests entering and exiting the chamber. Many of them wanted to enter the Flourishing Chamber of Commerce, but they were stopped by the 2 blue-clothed attendants. When Lin Yuan saw this scene, he immediately knew that there was a threshold to enter the Flourishing Prosperity Chamber of Commerce. Apart from the members of the Deep Revel Caravan, ordinary customers who wanted to enter the Flourishing Chamber of Commerce would have to pay a visit. The clothes and accessories worn on the body must meet a certain standard. He felt that it was rather strange to wear the ticket on his body for inspection. However, he had to admit that this method was very suitable for the customs of the Divine Wood Federation. Before Lin Yuan could reach the entrance of the Flourishing Prosperity Chamber of Commerce, there was a sudden commotion at the entrance. They saw a short man dressed in leaf clothes being stopped by 2 attendants at the entrance of the Flourishing Prosperity Chamber of Commerce. Leaf clothing was the most common type of clothing in the Divine Wood Federation. However, the nobles of the Divine Wood Federation would never wear this kind of leaf clothing. People who wore leaf clothing in the Divine Wood Federation were basically ordinary people. This kind of attire obviously didn't meet the requirements to enter the Flourishing Chamber of Commerce. When Lin Yuan walked closer, he heard a blue-clothed attendant say in an unfriendly tone, "You do not meet the requirements to enter the Flourishing Chamber of Commerce. Please leave immediately. Don't delay the opening of our Flourishing Chamber of Commerce." Just as Lin Yuan was about to walk past the short man and enter the door, Lin Yuan heard an immature and stubborn voice. "I beg of you, please make an exception and let me in. I brought money. I want to exchange for 5 days' worth of inflammation-lowering grass inside. After saying that, the short man seemed to want to prove something. He carefully took out a bulging small cloth bag from his bosom. The short man opened the bag and handed it to the blue-clothed waiter with a hopeful expression. The bag was filled with dirty and messy metal coins. The common currency of the Deep Brahman Federation, Divine Wood Federation, and Iron Hammer Federation was the Deep Brahman dollar. Deep Brahman coins are made of crystal. The metal coins in the bag were the inferior local currency of the Divine Wood Federation that was not recognized by the Deep Burn Federation. It was just like the Radiance Federation's Federation dollars. This currency could be exchanged with deep Sanskrit coins, but metal coins could not be circulated in the Chamber of Commerce. To put it bluntly, these merchant guilds that were based in the Deep Burn Federation did not recognize metal coins. Upon hearing that young and tender voice, Lin Yuan turned around and realized that it was a young girl. The short person wearing the leaf clothes should be a 13 or 14-year-old girl. The stubborn look in the girl's eyes was somewhat similar to Xueqi's, who had insisted on buying his medicine back then. Lin Yuan could not help but slow down. The blue-clothed attendant looked at the cloth bag that the young girl handed over with a conflicted expression, as if he was hesitating whether or not to let the young girl in. At this moment, an older blue-clothed waiter spoke. If anything happens to her after you put her in, I'll tell the vice president that you made the decision on your own. Miss has come to the Chamber of Commerce to check the accounts today. If this child offends the young lady, will you be able to bear the responsibility? When the younger waiter in blue clothes heard this, the tangled expression on his face suddenly became indifferent. The blue-clothed servant swung his hand forward and pushed the girl in the leaf clothes 2 steps back. The young girl gripped the cloth bag in her hand tightly, and the light of hope in her eyes suddenly dimmed. The young girl pursed her lips and looked around to make sure that no one was paying attention to her. Then, she tied the cloth bag and carefully placed it in her bosom. Just as the young girl was about to leave, she felt a pair of warm hands land on top of her head. Before the young girl could raise her head, she heard a clear and pleasant voice coming from above. If there's anything you want to buy, why don't you come in with me? From the moment the young girl took out the cloth bag, Lin Yuan noticed that the young girl's fingers were covered with a thick layer of calluses. The young girl's fingers were very rough and did not have any sense of beauty to speak of. The young girl's fingernails were stained with a lot of black dirt. This black dirt was mostly due to the soil that had entered her fingertips, but the layer of black dirt had already invaded her fingertips. This meant that the young girl had done a lot of rough and dirty work. The young girl's finger pads were covered with densely packed fine wounds, and 2 of her fingers were still in a red and swollen state. The leaf clothes that the young girl wore were made of bitter hemp. The bitter hemp looked thick and dark green on the outside, but in fact, the bitter hemp leaves had small sharp thorns. When using bitter hemp to weave clothes, it was impossible for the hands not to have fine cuts. The inflammation-reducing grass was a kind of bronze spiritual ingredient that could reduce inflammation and remove rotten flesh. When used by some insect phase, the inflammation-reducing grass was also very effective. For a young girl who always did rough and tiring work to wear the bitter hemp clothes overnight, it was impossible for her to do it without a purpose. It seemed like this young girl wanted to save someone. The inflammation-reducing grass was a very common spiritual ingredient. However, this young girl did not dare to go to the caravan to exchange for it. This meant that the young girl had no one to rely on. For a young girl to exchange for the inflammation-reducing grass in a caravan, she might be targeted by people with ill intentions. When Lin Yuan recalled how the young girl looked around vigilantly and carefully placed the bag with the metal coins in her bosom, he felt a little heartache. He could not help but feel a little heartache. Lin Yuan decided to help this young girl. The young girl raised her head and looked at Lin Yuan. With just a glance, the young girl could not help but be stunned. At this moment, the young girl felt as though she had seen a deity. But soon, the young girl's eyes revealed a vigilant expression. She was like a small deer licking its wounds in the forest. As though she thought of something, the young girl, who was originally prepared to run away, suddenly had some courage. End of this chapter. Chapter 1404. The young lady shrunk her shoulders and said to Lin Yuan in a reserved manner, "Thank you, my lord. Thank you for bringing me in." When the 2 blue-clothed attendants saw that Lin Yuan was standing up for this young lady, their faces revealed looks of disbelief. He did not seem to understand why a nobleman dressed in luxurious clothes would meddle in such matters. The attendant in charge of guarding the door of the caravan had a unique vision, and could immediately see that Lin Yuan's spirit chi clothing was extraordinary. However, the two envoys did not reveal the joy of having an honored guest. Instead, their expressions became even more solemn. People from the Deep Vendor Federation weren't rare in Oak City. Many large and small chambers of commerce had branches in Oak City. However, in Oak City, the people of the Deep Lush Federation who wore gorgeous clothes and had extraordinary statuses were often the leaders of the various merchant guilds. Or it could be said that the disciples of the hidden noble clans were inspecting their subordinate merchant associations. Because of this, there were very few nobles from the Deep Brahmin Merchant Guild that were in a competitive relationship with each other. The two attendants looked at each other, and one of them led Lin Yuan into the Chamber of Commerce. He immediately trotted upstairs to report to his superiors. After entering the interior of the flourishing Prosperity Chamber of Commerce, Lin Yuan found that it looked somewhat similar to the rare life-form pavilions in the various cities and counties of the Radiance Federation. However, compared to the complete range of goods in the rare life-form pavilion, the goods in the flourishing Prosperity Chamber of Commerce were clearly more focused. The young lady entered the Chamber of Commerce and nervously said to Lin Yuan, "Sir, thank you for bringing me into the Chamber of Commerce. I'm going to exchange for the Inferno grass." Lin Yuan felt a little helpless when he heard the girl's words. Just as the young lady was about to leave, Lin Yuan spoke. "It's fine if the person you want to save is a C-rank spirit chi professional. If it's a D-rank spirit chi professional or an ordinary person, the inflammation-lowering herb's medicinal effect will have a huge side effect on the 5 organs, causing them to be congested with blood. If there are parasitic worms in this person's body, and those worms have drilled into the congested organs, it's impossible to save them without an outstanding healing-class spirit chi professional." Lin Yuan's words made the young girl freeze on the spot. For a moment, helplessness and grievance welled up in the girl's heart. Bean-sized tears flowed from the young girl's round eyes, leaving 2 obvious tear stains on her small face. Upon seeing this, Lin Yuan used his hand to gently wipe away the tears on the girl's face. As a result, Lin Yuan's hand was stuck to the dust on the young girl's face, and her face became a little dirty after Lin Yuan wiped it. He could understand the young lady's feelings. It was unknown how much pain and courage a girl with no one to rely on wanted to save up this bag of coins. But when the young girl was filled with hope that the metal coins she had saved up could save her life, however, he realized that he had been too naive. This kind of disappointment after despair and anticipation was enough to crush a strong-willed adult man. Not to mention a young girl. Since he had met this girl today and brought her into the Chamber of Commerce, he decided to be a good person to the end. Lin Yuan's fingertips flickered with green light, and the young girl's hands, which were full of fine scars, immediately recovered. Even the barbs on the girl's fingernails were all healed. "It just so happens that I'm a healer. Stay by my side for now. Once I'm done shopping at the Chamber of Commerce, I'll help you save them." When the young girl heard Lin Yuan's words, she revealed a pleasantly surprised expression and smiled through her tears. The vigilance in the girl's eyes disappeared completely after her hands were healed. The young girl didn't think that she had anything worthy of a healer's attention. In the eyes of ordinary people in the Divine Wood Federation, healer's status was not inferior to creation masters. After all, the ones who truly saved ordinary people's lives were not the creation masters but these healers. The young girl followed behind Lin Yuan quietly, afraid that she would disturb Lin Yuan's observation of the items on display in the Chamber of Commerce. When Lin Yuan walked to the 5th floor, he saw an old man dressed in dark blue clothes coming to greet him. "Young master, I'm the vice president of the Oak City branch of the Flourishing Chamber of Commerce. If you have anything you want, you might as well tell me directly. Or if you want to talk about business, you can talk to me as well." Upon hearing that, Lin Yuan realized that this old man didn't treat him as an ordinary customer. Otherwise, this old man wouldn't mention business. Lin Yuan asked calmly, "Does your Flourishing Chamber of Commerce have a plant fey that can create a weather phenomenon?" Upon hearing that, the old man sized up Lin Yuan's attire again, as well as Lu Jie and Ji Feng behind him. Then he said, "There are many types of plant feys that can create a weather phenomenon. Clear Yong flower, mist wind grass, snow crystal orchid, een mist sunflower, and thunder cry chrysanthemum. Our Flourishing Chamber of Commerce currently has some of these 5 in stock. However, our Flourishing Prosperity Chamber of Commerce will put these materials up for auction. If young master is interested, you can participate in our Flourishing Chamber of Commerce's auction next Thursday." At that time, These 5 types of plant phase that can create a weather phenomenon will all appear at the auction. If young master wishes to build a new castle and decorate a garden, apart from these 5 types of plant phase that can create a weather phenomenon, the Flourishing Chamber of Commerce will have other surprises waiting for young master to discover. When Lin Yuan heard the old man's advertisement for the Flourishing Chamber of Commerce, he frowned slightly. If the Flourishing Chamber of Commerce's auction was tomorrow or the day after tomorrow, Lin Yuan could still wait. However, today was Tuesday, and there were still 9 days until the next Thursday. Lin Yuan couldn't afford to wait for 9 days. I wonder if the Flourishing Chamber of Commerce can make an exception and let you appraise those pots of spirit plants that can create a weather phenomenon at the auction. I will bid for them now. Upon hearing Lin Yuan's words, the old man thought to himself, could this youth really be here to buy things? After seeing through Lin Yuan's intention in coming to the Flourishing Chamber of Commerce, the old man started to treat Lin Yuan as a real customer. Originally, as long as young master is able to pay the price, you can purchase the auction items in advance. The Flourishing Chamber of Commerce's invitation has yet to be sent out, and the auction items can still be changed. The old man let out a sigh and continued speaking. To be honest, our Flourishing Chamber of Commerce has encountered some trouble recently. The Deep Cold Chamber of Commerce and the Lee Origin Chamber of Commerce have joined forces and wish to integrate the Chamber of Commerce's resources in Oak City. Our Flourishing Chamber of Commerce's auction must attract enough people to be able to take a breather under the attacks of the Deep Cold Chamber of Commerce and the Lee Origin Chamber of Commerce. Therefore, our Flourishing Chamber of Commerce will have to put up for auction items as long as they are of good quality. The old man's meaning was very clear. He told Lin Yuan about the Flourishing Chamber of Commerce's difficulties and the reason why they couldn't sell in advance. It was considered giving Lin Yuan enough face. Just as Lin Yuan was preparing to negotiate with the old man again, a gentle voice echoed behind him. End of this chapter. Chapter 1405. Young Master, our Flourishing Fan Auction will be auctioning a rainbow jade hibiscus. If young master is interested in those fey plants that can change the weather, I believe the rainbow jade hibiscus should be able to invite young master to participate in the Flourishing Fan Auction. When Lin Yuan turned around, the elder beside him quickly walked forward and said, Young lady, why aren't you resting inside? Miss, why aren't you resting inside? Why did you come out? The lady didn't reply to the elder immediately. Instead, she covered her face with her hand and started coughing. The woman's coughing only stopped when her face flushed red from all the coughing. Elder Duan, the account book is very clear, and Elder Duan has calculated every transaction. I didn't have to spend any effort. I heard that an esteemed guest from my hometown is visiting the Flourishing Fan Chamber of Commerce, so I came out to take a look. Lin Yuan saw that the lady was wearing an apricot red gown, and there were many bright red feathers stuck on it. These bright red feathers came from a diamond phoenix species bloodline fey. In addition, this lady's expression was very firm and calm, and she had a temperament that could only be nurtured with 100 years of foundation. This temperament was somewhat similar to Sun Ningxiang's temperament. This lady should be from a prestigious and hidden clan in the Deep Lavender Federation. While Lin Yuan was sizing up this lady, the lady was also sizing him up without batting an eyelid. Lin Yuan was wearing a low-profile spirit chi attire today, and the only accessory on his body was a copper cauldron pendant. The design of the copper cauldron pendant was very simple. The copper cauldron was carved with cranes, and it was inlaid with 99 diamond-shaped sea veins. However, this copper cauldron accessory with a simple design was worth at least 6 million deep Brahmin coins. Apart from this accessory, the black spirit chi attire that Lin Yuan was wearing was all woven with black silk. It was embroidered with auspicious patterns, and it was made from the spider silk of a diamond dark-type arachnid fey. Just based on Lin Yuan's attire, this lady had a whole new level of respect for him. Ordinary descendants of wealthy clans like to wear valuable items on their body to show off their nobility. Only those descendants of wealthy clans with a true foundation would be particular about their choice of accessories. It was rare for them to wear more than 2 accessories on their body. The youth before her undoubtedly belonged to the latter. Apart from the clothes he was wearing, Lin Yuan's bearing was even more admirable than his appearance. The woman took 2 steps forward and extended her hand to Lin Yuan. Hello, I'm Li Wan, the president of the Flourishing Chamber of Commerce. Upon hearing that, Lin Yuan reached out and gently shook the woman's hand. My surname is Lin. At this time, Lin Yuan's thoughts were all on the rainbow jade hibiscus that Li Wan had just mentioned. Gray had obtained the following skills from Weather Cloud: Clear Weather Radiance, Cloudy Weather Shadow, Snowy Weather Freeze, and Windy Weather Roar. These 4 skills corresponded to the Clear Yang Flower, Een Mist Sunflower, Snow Crystal Orchid and Wind Mist Grass respectively. The Thunder Chrysanthemum that the old man mentioned just now should correspond to the thunderstorm phenomenon. In nature, thunderstorms are very violent. It had an extremely strong lethality. Before reaching gold, Lin Yuan did not dare to let Gray try to absorb the thunderstorm phenomenon. However, if he had the Thunder Cry Chrysanthemum, he would be able to absorb the thunderstorm aura immediately. The Thunder Cry Chrysanthemum was a plant fey, and the intensity of the phenomenon it released was greatly related to its grade and quality. As long as he controlled the Thunder Cry Chrysanthemum's grade and ensured that the thunderstorm phenomenon released by the Thunder Cry Chrysanthemum would not hurt Gray. Sunny days, cloudy days, snowy days, strong winds, and thunderstorms were all very common natural phenomena. It was easy to encounter them in nature. The rainbow jade hibiscus that this woman named Li Wan mentioned corresponded to the unusually rare rainbow phenomenon. Gray had not had the chance to encounter a rainbow after a rainy day and absorb the rainbow phenomenon. If he could obtain the rainbow jade hibiscus and Gray absorb the rainbow, he would definitely be able to obtain a new skill. If Lin Yuan did not know the existence of the rainbow jade hibiscus, perhaps he would not insist on trading with the flourishing chamber of commerce for the spirit plant that could produce the phenomenon. There were many chambers of commerce in Oak City. The flourishing chamber of commerce was unwilling to sell for the auction, but there would always be other chambers of commerce willing to sell. Moreover, Lin Yuan could also use the sincere chamber of commerce's relationship to trade with the deep frost chamber of commerce. However, other chambers of commerce had the clear sunflower, Een fog sunflower, and other common spirit plants that could produce the phenomenon, but they did not necessarily have the rainbow jade hibiscus. As the president of the flourishing chamber of commerce, when Li Wan heard that Lin Yuan needed the spirit plant that could produce the phenomenon, she mentioned the rainbow jade hibiscus. She wanted to attract Lin Yuan to participate in the flourishing chamber of commerce and gain some popularity for the auction. At that moment, Li Wan's gentle voice sounded in Lin Yuan's ears again. If young Master Lin can participate in the flourishing chamber of commerce, I can make the decision to reserve a private room for you. Young Master Lin, during the auction, you will not be disturbed by others. It was Li Wan's first time meeting Lin Yuan today. From Li Wan's many invitations, Lin Yuan could feel the importance that the flourishing chamber of commerce placed on the auction. It seemed that the Deep Frost Chamber of Commerce and the Li Origin Chamber of Commerce had teamed up to integrate Oak City's Chamber of Commerce's resources, which made the flourishing chamber of commerce rather fearful. Now, the flourishing chamber of commerce did not want to sell the spirit plant that could produce the phenomenon to him. Wasn't it to ensure that the flourishing chamber of commerce's auction items were sufficient and of sufficient grade? Thinking of this, Lin Yuan looked at Li Wan and said softly, "The success of the flourishing chamber of commerce does not depend on these spirit plants that can produce the phenomenon. Only when other more attractive items appear in the auction will the flourishing chamber of commerce be truly lively." While speaking, a pair of bronze/epic material containing walnuts appeared in Lin Yuan's hand. Lin Yuan gently played with this pair of vermilion material containing walnuts in his hand. When Li Wan heard Lin Yuan's words at first, she thought that Lin Yuan still insisted on buying these spirit plants that could produce the phenomenon in advance. If that was the case, Li Wan would be greatly disappointed with Lin Yuan's demeanor. Elder Duan had clearly expressed the difficulties of the flourishing chamber of commerce, and she had invited Lin Yuan repeatedly to give him enough face. If Lin Yuan still wanted to force Lin Yuan at such a time, then Lin Yuan was not worthy of being treated as a friend by the flourishing chamber of commerce. However, when she saw the 2 bronze/epic material containing walnuts in Lin Yuan's hand, Li Wan's pupils suddenly shrank. She immediately understood what Lin Yuan meant. That's right. If this pair of bronze/epic material containing walnuts could appear in the flourishing chamber of commerce, why would they still need those spirit plants that could produce the phenomenon? Even the rainbow jade hibiscus could be sold in advance. In the Divine Wood Federation, spirit plants that could produce special phenomena like the rainbow jade hibiscus were very expensive. However, they were not very attractive. However, the bronze/epic material containing walnuts were different. Once the news of the bronze/epic material containing walnuts was released, Oak City's nobles would definitely be excited. Chapter 1406. Even in the large cities around Oak City, many nobles would fight for the bronze/epic object storing walnuts. He had specially come to Oak City to participate in the Shang Fan auction. It could be said that as long as they had this pair of bronze/epic object-holding walnuts, the flourishing prosperity Chamber of Commerce would rise. Even if Deep Frost Chamber of Commerce and Lee Origin Chamber of Commerce joined hands to suppress the other chambers of commerce, they would not be able to suppress flourishing Chamber of Commerce's power. More importantly, Li Yuan found that the pair of bronze/epic object storage walnuts in Lin Yuan's hand had obviously not been played with before. Such bronze/epic walnuts were the most expensive. For some great nobles who were not short of money, they could not bear to have their walnuts being played with for a period of time. The pair of walnuts in Lin Yuan's hand was just enough to satisfy the divine wood aristocrat's psychological cleanliness. Li Yuan looked around and found a few customers who had been looking at the goods on the 5th floor. From time to time, she would glance in his direction. Li Guan hurriedly gestured for Lin Yuan to go ahead. "Young Master Lin, why don't you come to the VIP lounge for a drink? It seems like we've neglected our esteemed guest in this grand event." Lin Yuan knew that Li Yuan understood his meaning, so he gently tossed the walnut in his hand. "Since Guild Master Li Yuan treats me as an honored guest, then I, Lin, hope that the flourishing fan auction will be filled with people and that both the host and the guests will enjoy themselves." When Li Yuan saw Lin Yuan tossing the bronze/epic walnuts, she confirmed that Lin Yuan really intended to exchange them for the flourishing prosperity Chamber of Commerce. However, even if the price of the spirit plants that could produce a weather phenomenon was several times higher, it would not be enough to exchange for a bronze/epic walnut storage. Li Yuan glanced at Elder Duan and said, "Bring the catalogue that I drafted last night to young Master Lin and see if there are any items that he is interested in." When the old man heard this, he responded with a smile. "Miss, don't worry. I'll bring the catalogue over and send it to the VIP room for young Master Lin to take a look." The old man had seen how much effort Li Yuan had put into this auction recently. But the old man couldn't help much. It was true that the Li family was a reclusive aristocratic family of the Deep Burn Federation, but it had declined due to that incident. They could not be compared to the reclusive grand clans behind Deep Frost Chamber of Commerce and Lee Origin Chamber of Commerce. The flourishing Prosperity Chamber of Commerce currently had 47 branches in the Divine Wood Federation and the Iron Hammer Federation. However, the Deep Frost Chamber of Commerce and the Lee Source Chamber of Commerce had more than 100 branches in the Divine Wood Federation and the Iron Hammer Federation. The branches of Flourishing Prosperity Chamber of Commerce were being suppressed by Deep Frost Chamber of Commerce and Lee Origin Chamber of Commerce. The Flourishing Prosperity Chamber of Commerce's branch in Oak City could be ranked in the top 5 among the 47 branches. Therefore, the Oak City branch of the Flourishing Prosperity Chamber of Commerce couldn't have any mishaps. Otherwise, the caravans under the Flourishing Prosperity Chamber of Commerce would lose the only transit station between the Shunwu Federation and the Iron Hammer Federation. Now, things had finally taken a turn. Li Yuan had chosen to bring Lin Yuan to the VIP room because Lin Yuan was an honored guest of the Flourishing Chamber of Commerce. Making a deal in the VIP lounge would show how much importance he attached to the deal. On the other hand, the chambers of commerce would send spies to each other. Li Yuan could not guarantee that the other customers on the 5th floor were not spies sent by other merchant houses. If his conversation with Lin Yuan was overheard by others, he would definitely be killed. It was inevitable that the Deep Frost Chamber of Commerce and the Lee Source Chamber of Commerce would take action. The Flourishing Prosperity Chamber of Commerce was in a precarious situation and depended on himself. Li Yuan could not let the Flourishing Prosperity auction, which would determine whether the Flourishing Prosperity Chamber of Commerce could make a comeback, suffer any accidents. On the way to the VIP lounge, Lin Yuan could clearly feel the girl beside him. The expression of this girl, who had not spoken much, became more and more nervous. Lin Yuan stretched out his hand and gently rubbed the girl's head. "I have the inflammation-reducing grass here. You don't need to buy more. When I get what I want, I will help you save the person." While speaking, Lin Yuan took out an inflammation-reducing grass and handed it to the girl. When the girl saw the inflammation-reducing grass in Lin Yuan's hand, she hurriedly took it and held it in her arms. She looked up at Lin Yuan with eyes full of gratitude. "Thank you, big brother." This scene caused Li Yuan's eyes to flicker. Li Yuan had come to see Lin Yuan because she had received a report from the blue-clothed attendant. Therefore, Li Yuan knew that this girl and Lin Yuan had coincidentally met at the entrance of the Flourishing Prosperity Chamber of Commerce. From the interaction between Lin Yuan and the girl, Li Yuan could see that Lin Yuan was very kind. Otherwise, he would not help a girl who looked like she was from a poor family. This caused Li Wan's view of Lin Yuan to slightly change. In Li Wan's view, Lin Yuan's behavior was not in line with the style of the Deep Lush Federation's hidden noble family. But it was undeniable that Lin Yuan was shining. When they reached the VIP lounge, Luoya directly picked up a jar from the shelf. Then, she came to the table and picked up the crystal cup on the table. This is the elephant bone wine made from the giant elephant's bones that have been soaked for dozens of years. It is considered my clan's secret. Have a taste. After speaking, Luoya was about to pour the wine into the cup. When Li Wan had just filled the first crystal cup and was about to pour the second cup, Lin Yuan reached out his hand to stop Li Wan. Only one of the three of us is drinking. You have a cough disease, so it is not convenient for you to drink. After speaking, Lin Yuan handed the cup full of wine to Ji Feng. Ji Feng usually had the habit of drinking a cup when eating. Now that he had encountered the elephant bone wine of the Deep Lush Federation's noble family, the wine bug in Ji Feng's stomach had long been hooked. Ji Feng took the elephant bone wine that Lin Yuan handed over and took a sip. This elephant bone wine should be made by soaking the diamond elephant bone, elephant blood, and elephant grapevine together. It's like the pungent smell of blood being masked by the wine. It's very flavorful. When Li Wan saw that Lin Yuan's eyes were clear and he said that he didn't drink alcohol, she was stunned. He suddenly felt that Lin Yuan was like a brewer. People who made wine were always clear-headed, and they could take care of themselves at all times and in all places. The concern in the second half of Lin Yuan's words let Li Wan know that Lin Yuan was a person who was willing to think for others. This made Li Wan curious. Which hidden family did Lin Yuan come from? Could it be that the hidden grand family that Lin Yuan belonged to only had one direct bloodline? Don't you need to fight for it? Don't you need to fight for it? As long as there was a need to fight, it was impossible to develop such a kind and considerate personality. Before Li Wan could think more, Ji Feng's words stunned Li Wan. Although Ji Feng didn't tell them the entire formula of the elephant bone wine, he was able to make it. But the main ingredients, Ji Feng, were not wrong at all. It was as though he had personally participated in the soaking of the elephant bone wine. This meant that this man, who looked rather mature, must have been drinking on a daily basis. And all the wine he drank was good wine. Otherwise, it was impossible for him to have such a tongue that was good at tasting wine. Chapter 1407. Ji Feng had just addressed Lin Yuan as young master, which meant that Ji Feng was just a servant of Lin Yuan. When did servants get to drink such good wine? Li Wan took a deep breath and took the juice that she had just pressed. He poured a cup for Lin Yuan, Lu Jia, and the little girl beside Lin Yuan. At first, the little girl had stage fright. The little girl clearly wanted to drink the juice in the glass, but she didn't dare to pick it up. Lin Yuan handed the juice in his hand to the little girl and said, "That's right. Drink it. If it's not enough, I'm sure President Li won't mind giving you a refill." After saying that, Lin Yuan handed the red jade-like bronze/epic walnut in his hand to Li Wan and said, "This pair of walnuts should be enough to exchange for all the spirit plants that can produce chi phenomena in your flourishing prosperity chamber of commerce, right?" When Li Wan heard that, she took the walnut that Lin Yuan handed over and carefully examined it. After some investigation, Li Guan's expression suddenly changed. When the pair of walnuts was brought closer, one could smell a very rich fragrance of plants. This meant that this pair of walnuts had just been plucked from the tree, and the green skin had just been peeled off. It definitely wouldn't take more than 10 days. In that case, Lin Yuan was likely to have a bronze/epic walnut tree. Li Wan, who had guessed this possibility, was no longer thinking about how to exchange for the pair of walnuts in Lin Yuan's hands. Instead, it was how to reach a long-term cooperation with him. With this pair of bronze/epic object-holding walnuts, the Shangfan auction would gain enough popularity. However, this pair of bronze/epic object-containing walnuts would eventually be auctioned off at the auction. Without this pair of walnuts, even if the flourishing prosperity chamber of commerce had a reputation left, it would be useless. He still did not have the chips to fight against Deep Frost Chamber of Commerce and Li Origin Chamber of Commerce. If there could always be a bronze/epic quality object storing walnut appearing at the Shangfan auction, then why would the flourishing fan auction house not have to worry about not being able to make a name for itself under the pincer attack of the Deep Frost Chamber of Commerce and the Li Source Chamber of Commerce? Li Wan organized her thoughts and said, "Young Master Lin, we have 7 clear yang flowers, 9 Een mist sunflowers, 6 snow crystal orchids, 7 wind orchids, and 4 thunder chrysanthemums. As for the rainbow jade hibiscus that is able to produce such a phenomenon, our deep Buddhist trade union only has one. According to the auction price, these 34 spirit herbs that can produce chi phenomena are worth a total of 6.4 million Brahmin coins. I'll make the decision and give you a 10% discount. The total will be 5.76 million Brahmin coins. As for young Master Lin's pair of bronze/epic walnuts, which no one has ever seen before, the auction price is at least 25 million Brahmin coins. This is the highest price ever paid for a bronze/epic walnut. It was sold at the Myriad Treasures auction in Shenglin City for 35 million deep Sanskrit coins. But the price of 35 million is too high. Our flourishing Chamber of Commerce can't afford it. How about this? I'll sell this pair of bronze/epic walnuts for 31 million yuan. What do you think, young Master Lin? When he had been in Nanmu City, he had asked Zhang Tong and Luo Ye about the price of the bronze/epic storage walnuts. The price that Luo Ye and Zhang Tong had offered was around 28 million deep Brahmin coins, which was within the range that Li Wan had offered. It could be said that the price that Li Wan offered was very reasonable. When this pair of walnuts was auctioned at the Flourishing Fan auction, it could not be sold for 31 million deep Brahmin coins. After all, the highest price of an item at the auction often had a lot to do with fighting spirit. It seemed that Li Wan was not counting on this pair of bronze/epic storage walnuts to make money with him. Instead, it felt like she was spending money to buy fame. As for those fays that could produce chi phenomena, Li Wan even gave him a discount. It was equivalent to giving him hundreds of thousands of deep Brahmin coins. Lin Yuan was very satisfied with Li Wan's attitude. I'll do as you say, President Li. Just now, President Li, you asked someone to give me the auction list. I want to buy some of the items on the list with the remaining 20 million deep Brahmin coins. Of course. Don't worry, President Li. I have no intention of buying everything. I won't buy anything that I don't need. If there are items that I'm more interested in, I don't mind adding some more finale items to the deep fan auction. After saying that, a pair of vermilion walnuts appeared in Lin Yuan's hand. Lin Yuan's words delighted Li Wan. Li Wan was afraid that Lin Yuan would buy everything on the auction list. With this pair of bronze/epic storage walnuts, the Flourishing Fan auction's popularity was stabilized. However, if Lin Yuan bought all the other auction items, it would undoubtedly make the Flourishing Fan auction seem anticlimactic. If it was anticlimactic, people might look down on the Flourishing Fan Chamber of Commerce's foundation. At the same time, when Lin Yuan took out this pair of walnuts, Li Wan was sure that Lin Yuan must have a bronze/epic storage walnut tree. Otherwise, how could there be so many bronze/epic storage walnuts that had just fallen off the tree? This discovery made Li Wan determine Lin Yuan's identity. A hidden clan with an advanced class 4 creation master or above was enough to stand at the peak of the deep fan auction. This kind of hidden and powerful clan was not something that a declining clan like his could compare to. At that moment, Elder Duan, who had gone to get the auction list, walked in. Apart from the auction list, Elder Duan was holding a tray. There were a total of 34 pots of spirit herbs on the tray. There seemed to be a miniature landscape in the sky above the tray. The sky was half clear and half dark. The clear side was blowing with violent winds, while the dark side was flashing with thunder and a snowstorm. A rainbow lay in the middle of the clear and dark sides, giving off a feeling that all the chi phenomena were fused together. Lin Yuan realized that the spirit herbs that could produce chi phenomena were all normal. Each of them was about the size of the flower brocade pearls and was only half the size of Lin Yuan's palm. These spirit herbs that could produce chi phenomena wouldn't take up much space in the spirit lock spatial zone. It would allow Gray to absorb all kinds of chi phenomena. These spirit herbs were all normal, which meant that the Flourishing Fan Chamber of Commerce should be nurturing them. Or rather, it should be a channel to purchase such spirit herbs. After receiving the list from Elder Duan, Lin Yuan didn't look at the contents immediately. Instead, he looked up at Li Wan and said, I wonder if it is possible for me to order some phase that can produce chi phenomena from the Flourishing Fan Chamber of Commerce? Li Wan was worried about how to establish a relationship with Lin Yuan to ensure future contact. Now, Lin Yuan's words coincidentally solved Li Wan's problem. Li Wan smiled and said, Of course. Apart from the clear sunflower, Een fog sunflower, snow crystal orchid, wind orchid, and thunder cry chrysanthemum, there are also other items that the Chamber of Commerce doesn't have. Also, I can get Mian Yuha that the Chamber of Commerce doesn't have right now. End of this chapter. Chapter 1408. Speaking to here, Lee smiled for a moment before continuing. It's just that for spirit plants like the rainbow jade hibiscus that can produce special phenomena, it's all up to luck. Lin Yuan replied. Then I'll take out 10 million from my remaining Sanskrit coins as a down payment to purchase these spirit herbs that can produce weather phenomena. From now on, the more spiritual plants like this, the better. I'll eat as many as your Shang Fanxing Club can get. After saying that, Lin Yuan lowered his head and checked the auction list. Lin Yuan didn't want to collect so many spirit plants that could produce chi phenomena just for Gray. After Lin Yuan's investigation, he found that the swamp world did not have such weather. The swamp world had a humid and warm climate all year round, with no change of seasons. Such a climate was suitable for nurturing most plant-type phase. However, there were some plant phase that required 4 distinct seasons to be nurtured well. If one wanted to nurture such phase in the swamp world, they could only rely on these spirit plants that could produce weather phenomena. When Li Wan heard Lin Yuan's words, her heart trembled. Li Wan blushed with shame at Lin Yuan's nonchalant attitude toward the 10 million deep Brahma coins. Although Li Guan was in charge of the prosperous Prosperity Chamber of Commerce, the 47 branches of the Chamber of Commerce made a lot of money every day. But Li Wan could not really make Li Guan take out 10 million deep Brahman coins to squander. If the Chamber of Commerce wanted to operate, it needed a large amount of cash. Cash flow was a problem that Li Wan had been worrying about these past few years. After all, the Chamber of Commerce had to invest the cash they had earned from selling goods. Once the cash flow was cut off, the flourishing Prosperity Chamber of Commerce would immediately stop doing business. For the flourishing auction that would be held in Oak City in a few days, Li Wan had invested a lot of money to advertise it. Lin Yuan's deposit of 10 million deep Brahman coins was considered Li Wan's urgent need for publicity. He was halfway through the list, but he didn't find anything that interested him. Most of the items on the auction list were furs and metals. Lin Yuan could have as many of these items as he wanted, and there was no need to trade with the flourishing Prosperity Chamber of Commerce. After patiently looking on, Lin Yuan saw some Fey auction items. Among these Feys, the 2 most outstanding items were the Platinum X/Epic Flamewood Hummingbird. One was a Bronze/Flawless Rain Rabbit. As a firewood dual elemental flying type Fey, the Flamewood Hummingbird was rather small and couldn't carry humans. However, it possessed extremely powerful fire and wood elemental abilities. He could even hold it in his arms and raise it as a pet. Furthermore, the Flamewood Hummingbird was rather good-looking, and many spirit chi professionals would like it. The Rain Rabbit was a healing type Fey, and this Bronze/Flawless Rain Rabbit had mediocre abilities and exclusive skills. But he won in terms of appearance. This was a good choice for some aristocratic girls in the Divine Wood Federation who were compatible with healing type Feys. However, Lin Yuan was someone who could nurture Bronze/Epic Feys at any moment. Be it the Flamewood Hummingbird or the Sweet Rain Rabbit, they were too shabby in Lin Yuan's opinion. However, when he saw the last page of the list, he was immediately shocked by one of the finale items. The flourishing Prosperity Chamber of Commerce actually dared to auction a Carcinoma Fey. Furthermore, it was an extremely sinister insect-type Carcinoma Fey. The black gold butterfly did not have a name on the list. The note stated that it was a newly discovered insect-type Carcinoma Fey. However, Lin Yuan immediately recognized what this insect species Carcinoma Fey was. This was the butterfly of Yin Yang. The Yin Yang chaotic butterfly was ranked 13th among all of the Spirit Guards containment phase. The top 22 Merfays that the Spirit Guards had taken in all had the same title, Fifth Calamity. The title, Fifth Calamity, referred to the release of any one of the Carcinoma Feys. It could cause a natural disaster and cause the extinction of tens of thousands of races. The Yin Yang Chaos Butterfly was an insect-type Carcinoma Fey. Not just one, but a pair. The pair was divided into a male and a female, which were the Yang and Yin Messy butterflies. The butterfly of Yin Yang could choose a creature of the same sex as itself to live as a parasite, and then reproduce in the body of this creature, using this creature's body as a nest. Then, through contact with other creatures of the same species, the butterfly of Yin Yang would quickly parasitize other creatures of the same sex as itself. In the end, it spread and infected the entire tribe. What was even more frightening was that the Yin Yang Chaos Butterfly could steal the thoughts and consciousness of a living being through parasitism. This was the same as bestowing intelligence to the insect-type Carcinoma Fey that acted on instinct. If the Flourishing Chamber of Commerce auctioned a pair of yin-yang butterflies, it would be fine. However, there was only one yin parasite butterfly in the auction of Flourishing Chamber of Commerce. The butterflies of yin and yang never left their side, so it was impossible for them to capture only one of them. Lin Yuan asked Li Wan solemnly. When this insect species Carcinoma Fei was discovered, there should have been another Platinum Fei, right? Where's the Platinum one? Hearing Lin Yuan's serious tone, Li Wan was slightly surprised. Could Lin Yuan have recognized this insect-type Carcinoma Fei? That must be it. Otherwise, he wouldn't have said that there was another platinum existence. Li Guan said with some regret. This pair of insect-type Carcinoma Feis were accidentally captured by a merchant group under the Flourishing Prosperity Chamber of Commerce. But in the process of transporting the goods to Oak City, the merchant group encountered a group of bandits. Although the hidden experts in the caravan managed to wipe out the bandits, they still accidentally broke the container containing the platinum butterfly. Upon hearing Li Wan's words, Lin Yuan clenched his fist. That young parasite butterfly had to be found. Otherwise, if the young parasite butterfly was allowed to develop freely, Oak City, the Divine Wood Federation, and even the entire Agon continent would fall into endless fear. Fortunately, the yin parasite butterfly was not released. Otherwise, the fifth calamity would have already spread in Oak City. The young parasite butterfly's calamity was to parasitize all male life forms. It was only a parasite for now. However, if the yin parasite butterfly started to parasitize female life forms, then the yin-yang parasite butterfly would rapidly reproduce. All hosts that were transformed into insect nests would enter the same state under the control of the yin parasite butterfly and the yang parasite butterfly. At that time, the parasitized insect nests would become nutrients and give birth to a life form called chaos worm. Chaos worms only knew how to devour, and they would devour any life form. Ultimately, the entire Agon continent would be devoured by the overwhelming number of chaos worms and turned into scorched earth. If not for the sea separating the Agon continent from the other continents, this fifth calamity might even engulf the entire origin world. While Lin Yuan was training in the Divine Wood Federation, he had already treated the Agon continent as Sky City's backyard. Lin Yuan would not allow the Agon continent to be harmed by an insect-type Carcinoma Fei like the yin-yang parasite butterfly. Lin Yuan looked at the auction list and saw that the yin-yang parasite butterfly was priced at 12 million deep Brahmin coins. I want this insect-type Carcinoma Fei. The remaining money will be used as a deposit for the Weather Spirit herb. Presently, please give me this insect-type Carcinoma Fei as soon as possible. End of this chapter. Chapter 1409. Li Wan did not understand what had happened. However, Lin Yuan's tone and attitude had changed after seeing this insect-type Carcinoma Fei. It wasn't strange for the Chamber of Commerce to auction insect-type Carcinoma Feis. Basically, there would be an insect species Carcinoma Fei appearing in every grand auction. Li Wan originally wanted to continue building a relationship with Lin Yuan, but now was obviously not a good time to do so. In order to express her importance, Li Wan had personally fetched the container that contained the yang parasitic chaos butterflies. Lin Yuan took the 34 spirit plants that could change the weather and the container that contained the yin parasitic chaos butterflies. He immediately left the Flourishing Chamber of Commerce. Ji Feng had never heard of the yin-yang chaotic butterfly, but as Night Leaning Moon's disciple, Lu Jie, who controlled the insect-type Carcinoma Fei to fight, had never heard of the yin-yang chaotic butterfly. Its understanding of the yin-yang turmoil butterfly was even clearer than Lin Yuan's. Lu Jie knew that things were getting out of hand. Fortunately, the yin parasite butterfly was still in Lin Yuan's hands. The yin-yang chaos butterflies are attracted to each other. As long as the yin-yang chaos butterfly is released, the yin chaos butterfly would instinctively search for the yang chaos butterfly. If the yang parasite had already completed its parasitism, then the yin parasite would be its primary target. He would become the host of the yang parasitic butterfly. This was a secret that the spirit guards had discovered after studying the yin-yang disruption butterfly. Lu Jie hurriedly told this confidential information to Lin Yuan. Upon hearing Lu Jie's words, Lin Yuan, who had left the Flourishing Prosperity Chamber of Commerce and arrived on the streets of Oak City, spoke to the young lady beside him in a serious tone. I have something important to do right now. If you're in a hurry to go home, leave me an address. You can go back first. I'll go find you as soon as I'm done with this. If you're not in a rush, you can stay by my side. When the young girl heard that, her round eyes immediately revealed a conflicted emotion. The girl thought of her brother's situation and wanted to go home to take care of him as soon as possible. However, the young girl was also afraid that Lin Yuan would disappear without a trace. The young girl felt a warmth from Lin Yuan that she had never felt before. The name of this kind of warmth is care. When the young lady recalled that she still had plenty of food left at home, she whispered to Lin Yuan. "Big brother, you are busy. Little flower will stay by Big brother's side. When Big brother is done, I'll go save little brother with little blossom." Upon hearing the young lady's words, Lin Yuan patted her shoulder. Then, with a grave expression, he broke the container in his hand that contained the parasite butterfly. He released the demonic butterfly, which could be called the fifth natural disaster. This dark parasite butterfly was an elite 4/elite insect-type tumor fey, and its flying speed was not fast. Lin Yuan sprinted at full speed and was basically able to catch up to the parasite butterfly's speed in a short time. Under such circumstances, it was obviously inappropriate for him to summon Blackie. Even if Little Black tried its best to restrain its dragon power, its aura could still disturb the butterfly. In order to escape from Little Black, it would be bad if the butterfly didn't look for the young butterfly. Therefore, when Lin Yuan broke the container containing the parasite butterflies, the parasite butterfly's body trembled. Lu Jie let the insect queen inside the dimensional light moth spawn a total of 20 bronze hurricane owlet moths. The hurricane owlet moths formed a group of 5 and controlled the wind element to carry them into the air. He followed the flight path of the parasite butterfly in the air. In order not to disturb the parasite butterfly, Lin Yuan and the others maintained a distance of 30 to 50 meters from it. However, even if Lin Yuan and the others did not disturb the parasite butterfly, it did not mean that others would not. Along the way, many passers-by's gazes landed on Lin Yuan and the others. However, due to the spirit chi attire that Lin Yuan, Lu Jie, and Ji Feng were wearing, no one dared to go forward and talk to them. Of course, there were some kind-hearted people who saw that Lin Yuan and the others were chasing after the parasite butterfly but were unable to catch it. They wanted to go forward and help to capture the parasite butterfly while also trying to get close to it. Fortunately, Lu Jie quickly let the insect queen produce a few more gold hurricane owlet moths to stop those people. Otherwise, if the parasite butterfly was startled and flew around, Lin Yuan would not be able to find its location. Oak City was a major city in the Divine Wood Federation, and many of the passers-by were of high status. Some of the passers-by were even creation masters. These creation masters immediately recognized the black gold butterfly flying in front of Lin Yuan and the others. It was an insect-type tumor fey. No matter what kind of insect-type tumor fey it was, it represented a huge amount of wealth. In the face of such wealth, no one would be polite. At such a crucial moment, Lin Yuan didn't have the time to be entangled with these people. As such, Lin Yuan summoned Genius from the Spirit Lock Spatial Zone. Genius, which was summoned by Lin Yuan, lay in Lin Yuan's embrace and meowed with a childish voice. During this period of time, Genius had been busy teaching the young 100 Questions Beasts and building the 100 Questions Beast Legion. In addition, it had to worry about the layout of the swamp world and the nurturing of some special fays. As a result, Genius hadn't been able to lie in Lin Yuan's embrace and act like a spoiled child for a period of time. Lin Yuan looked at the people who had summoned their fays and were preparing to capture the parasite butterfly and said to Genius, "Genius, if anyone or any fey wants to make a move on the parasite butterfly, give them a tail strike." After hearing Lin Yuan's words, Genius immediately let out a meow. Its childish voice was filled with seriousness. "Don't worry, Lin Yuan." After speaking, Genius's body lit up with a pure white halo. Genius's 8 fluffy tails instantly extended for close to 10 meters under the white halo. At this moment, each of Genius's tails could wrap around 3 adults tightly. Genius's tail swung continuously and struck every person who had summoned their fays and was preparing to make a move on the parasite butterfly. It didn't care about the identities of these people. Genius might not be adept at combat, but it was still a diamond/fantasy breed fey. As such, Genius's physical strength was even stronger than regular diamond combat class fays. With the sweep of Genius's tails, everywhere the parasite butterfly passed through was in a mess. There was a group of people lying on the ground in a disorderly manner, and they were just about to make a move on the parasite butterfly. Among them was a youth who was as fat as a ball. He was holding his back and cursing. "What is this? How dare you make a move on me? You really don't know how to spell the word death. When the man stood up, two young and beautiful ladies staggered to their feet. The two women endured the severe pain in their bodies and stepped forward to support the fat young man's arms from the left and right. Young Master Lu, are you all right? We will give you a massage. As they spoke, the two ladies' hands gently pressed on the fat youth's back. As a result, the fat youth's injuries were affected. The fat youth cursed in pain and then gave two ruthless slaps on the two ladies' faces. Chapter 14:10. He slapped the two ladies to the ground. The faces of the two women who were beaten revealed a look of horror. For a moment, the two ladies didn't dare to stand up. When the others saw the situation, they quickly left. They could only hope that young Master Lu wouldn't vent his anger on them. Young Master Lu had black hair and black eyes, and he wasn't a native of the Divine Wood Federation. However, young Master Lu was someone that no one in Oak City dared to provoke. The Deep Frost Trade Association was backed by the Lu family. This fat youth might not be a direct descendant of the Lu family, but he was the study companion of the Lu family's young master. He was highly valued by the Lu family's young master. Even the vice president of the Deep Frost Trade Association's Oak City branch had to be courteous to this fat youth. Such a person wasn't someone that small fries like them could afford to provoke. The fat youth's eyes were filled with ferocity as he looked in the direction that Lin Yuan and the others had left. The two of you, hurry up and get up to gather people. I want to see who has the guts to do this. He actually dared to hit me, Lu Kuan, for an insect-type carcinoma fey. The two ladies quickly got up and started to gather people according to the fat youth's instructions. In order to satisfy the fat youth, the two maidservants called Oak City's Deep Frost Trade Association's vice president, Song Dingjin. They asked Song Dingjin to send an expert from the Deep Frost Trade Association to help Lu Kuan. The request of the two women made Song Dingjin, who was on the other end of the phone, frown tightly. However, due to Lu Kuan's status, Song Dingjin still sent an expert from the Deep Frost Trade Association and a small team of guards. Song Dingjin couldn't help but let out a soft sigh after hanging up. She then fiddled with the dozens of walnuts in front of her. These object storage walnuts were only of bronze and silver normal quality. The only use of a walnut of this level and quality was to be used by caravans to carry goods. At this moment, a man wearing a black uniform beside Song Dingjin said, "Vice President, did young Master Lu cause trouble again?" Vice President, did young Master Lu Kuan cause trouble again? Vice President, did young Master Lu cause trouble again? The cooperation with the Li Origin Trade Association has been finalized. Lu Kuan is here to sign the cooperation agreement. After signing the agreement, Lu Kuan will leave Oak City in the next 2 days. Now that he has needs, I will satisfy them all. Correct answer, Lu Kuan. I'll be able to sit more securely in Oak City. Hearing Song Dingjin's words, the man in the black uniform couldn't help but twitch his mouth. It had only been a week since young Master Lu Kuan arrived at Oak City. But because of young Master Lu Kuan, more than 100 people had died. There were also many guests of the Deep Frost Chamber of Commerce among them. This would have a very bad effect on the Deep Frost Chamber of Commerce. Li Origin Chamber of Commerce, which cooperated with Deep Frost Chamber of Commerce, had already voiced their opinions many times. However, when he thought about what Song Dingjin had done over the years, the man in the black uniform felt that Song Dingjin was no better than Lu Kuan. It might even be worse. Seeing that Song Dingjin was checking the contents of the walnuts, the man in black uniform asked, "Mr. Vice President, are we still going to keep these object-holding walnuts and get rid of that small caravan?" After saying that, the man made a throat-slitting gesture. Song Dingjin asked with great interest, "You said that the caravan was a low-ranked caravan called the Xueqi caravan?" The man in black quickly replied, "This Xueqi caravan is indeed the lowest-ranked caravan in our Deep Frost Chamber of Commerce. The entire caravan has close to 100 people, and only the captain has a gold fey. He runs the border between Oak City and the Iron Hammer Federation all year round. I don't know what kind of luck the Xueqi caravan had this time. They actually managed to exchange so many things at the border of the Iron Hammer Federation. Although the best beast hide inside the object-holding walnuts is only silver, the quality of these beast hides is too good. There aren't any flaws at all. There are those ores, and many of them are quite expensive in the Iron Hammer Federation. I've estimated that it's worth around 1,000,000 deep Brahmin coins. The Xueqi caravan's captain brought these object-holding walnuts to me, and wanted to exchange some fine wine and spirit herbs from the Chamber of Commerce. I think they are preparing to go to the Iron Hammer Federation to make a fortune. This caravan must have encountered some fortuitous encounter. The entire caravan is beaming with joy. According to the old rules, I will bring these things for you to take a look. A playful smile appeared on Song Dingzhen's face when she heard this. Hee, beaming with joy? Don't the Xueqi caravan's people know that fortuitous encounters can change owners? Since it is a small caravan, just send them away as usual. I will give you 10% of the benefits inside. Go and do your work. Upon hearing Song Dingzhen's words, the black-clothed man quickly bowed and replied, Thank you for your appreciation, Vice President. Recently, there have been more and more caravans wanting to rely on the Deep Frost Chamber of Commerce. Our Deep Frost Chamber of Commerce can't handle so many caravans. Now that our Deep Frost Chamber of Commerce has a cooperative relationship with the Li Origin Chamber of Commerce, do you want to introduce these caravan resources to the Li Origin Chamber of Commerce? The skinny Song Dingzhen let out a cold snort. How can the caravan be full? Just pick some fat ones and digest them. Go, continue to promote our Deep Frost Chamber of Commerce. There will be 0 handling fees for the caravans that rely on the Deep Frost Chamber of Commerce to exchange for resources. Each round trip will be given a subsidy of 2,000 metal coins. After speaking, Song Dingzhen waved her hand. She then picked up the wine pot on the table, poured a cup of wine, and sipped it calmly. Lin Yuan had been following the dark parasite butterfly for about 15 minutes. Lin Yuan realized that it had flown to the edge of Oak City. The people living at the edge of Oak City were mostly ordinary people at the bottom of society, and some refugees who had nowhere else to go. Order was very chaotic, and a series of vicious incidents would often occur. At that moment, the young girl beside Lin Yuan, who had flown into the sky for the first time with a face full of amazement, suddenly said, That's right. Big brother, why did you fly to Little Flower's place? Xiao Hua's house is just around the corner. Big brother, look, that fruit shop is selling rotten fruits that have been hoarded in the city for a few days. When Xiao Hua and little brother are hungry, they will take a metal coin and go to the fruit shop to buy some fruit. Buy 5 pounds of rotten fruit. Cut off the rotten part, and there will still be 2 to 3 pounds left. It's very sweet. At the mention of food, Xiao Hua's round eyes curved up. This smile was very pure, and it contained a longing for the future. There wasn't even a trace of pain. Upon seeing Xiao Hua's innocent smile, Lin Yuan couldn't help but sigh. Back in the Xia region, he had brought Xueqi along to survive alone. He had never experienced such a bitter life. End of this chapter. Chapter 14:11. After leaving the Radiance Federation, Lin Yuan had truly seen how the dark side of the main world was full of devastation. The next time he returned to the Radiance Federation, the Warm Sun Fund should be able to operate. Lin Yuan could help Xiao Hua when he met her, but he could not help everyone in the abandoned city under his feet. Lin Yuan hoped that after the Warm Sun Fund operated, at least the Radiance Federation would not have such a situation again. A ray of warm sunlight shone on the dust-covered man. It should give the dusty people the courage to part with the clouds and see the light together. Upon hearing that, Lin Yuan was about to take out 2 spirit fruits from the diamond face storage box for Xiao Hua to eat. However, Lu Jie had already taken out a string of gold and handed it to Xiao Hua. When Xiao Hua saw the gold, she was a little timid at first. However, after Lu Jie revealed a warm smile, Xiao Hua was infected by his smile. After thanking Lu Jie, he took the gold tea from Lu Jie. Lin Yuan recalled that when he had first met Lu Jie, it was the darkest moment of Lu Jie's life. At that time, there was no light in Lu Jie's eyes. Even so, Lu Jie still supported many orphans. He even bought education funds for those orphans. Lu Jie should like children very much. Suddenly, Lin Yuan saw the Een parasite butterfly, which had been flying rapidly, slow down. The Een parasite butterfly folded its wings and landed like a withered leaf in a dilapidated straw house. Looking in the direction the Een parasite butterfly landed, Xiao Hua exclaimed, "Big brother, that's Xiao Hua's home." Upon hearing that, Lin Yuan's pupils constricted. Could the target of the young parasite butterfly's host be Xiao Hua's younger brother? If that was the case, it would explain why Xiao Hua had gone to buy the inflammation-reducing grass. The host of the young parasite butterfly's insect nest would fester and become inflamed. This was in line with the inflammation-reducing grass's healing range. However, the inflammation-reducing grass was destined to not be able to heal the host of the young parasite butterfly. After the inflammation-reducing grass's medicinal properties stimulated the young parasite butterfly, it would cause it to go crazy. It would also accelerate the festering of the body. Xiao Hua, who had not figured out the situation, saw Lin Yuan turn his head. He asked himself in an abnormally serious tone, "Xiao Hua, when did you notice that your younger brother's body started to have inflammation?" Xiao Hua thought for a while and said, "4 days ago, Xiao Chao got a big bump on her arm. I took Xiao Chao to ask Uncle Niu. Uncle Niu said that it was nothing and that it was just a boil. I believed Uncle Ox's words, so I took Xiao Chao home. However, on the second day, Xiao Cao's arm began to swell up, and pus and blood slowly flowed out. At night, Xiao Chao passed out. At that time, Xiao Hua wanted to take out all his money to buy an inflammation-reducing grass. On the morning of the 3rd day, my little brother woke up, but after he woke up, he did not like to talk." Xiao Hua was seriously recalling and telling Lin Yuan the contents of the memories. Upon hearing that, Lin Yuan and Lu Jie's expressions changed. It was almost certain that Xiao Hua's younger brother, Xiao Chao, was the host of the young parasitic butterfly. Xiao Hua's younger brother, Xiao Chao, had his memories and thoughts stolen by the young parasite butterfly on the 2nd night. On the 3rd day, when Xiao Hua woke up, the person in front of him was no longer his younger brother, Xiao Chao. Instead, it was the young Ji chaos butterfly that could be called the 5th natural disaster. Fortunately, Xiao Hua was not a male. Otherwise, on the morning of the 3rd day, Little Blossom had already been parasitized by the young parasitic butterfly. As soon as the shady parasite butterfly entered the house, before Lin Yuan and the others could land on the ground, the shady parasite butterfly suddenly appeared. The tightly shut door of the hut was suddenly opened from the inside. A 6 or 7-year-old boy ran out of the room. On the little boy's left shoulder was a black gold butterfly flapping its wings. This black and gold butterfly was the parasite butterfly that had just landed in the room. Xiao Hua saw the little boy and quickly called out, "Xiao Chao, when older sister left, didn't I tell you not to leave the room? Why did you come out? Go back quickly. Big sister found a big brother who is a healer. He can help you heal the wounds on your body." As Xiao Hua spoke, he prepared to run over and hug the little boy. At that moment, the butterfly on the little boy's fingertip flew towards Xiao Hua like a sharp sword. Before the black and gold parasite butterfly could get close to Little Flower's body suddenly exploded. The 20 bronze hurricane owlet moths that had brought them here had already stirred up a gale and formed a wind prison. They controlled the parasite butterfly, which was only at the elite grade. Seeing that the parasite butterfly was being controlled, the little boy's face revealed a fierce expression. He quickly strode toward Lin Yuan, Lu Jie, and Ji Feng. At such a time, Lin Yuan and the others naturally could not let the little boy get close to them. Once the little boy got close, Lin Yuan and the others would not be able to escape the fate of being parasitized by the young parasite butterfly. Lin Yuan stood there quietly, and a quicksand whirlpool appeared under the little boy's feet. The little boy's legs immediately sank into the quicksand whirlpool. Then, a pair of palms formed from yellow sand appeared in the quicksand whirlpool. The palm formed by the yellow sand held the young man firmly in its palm. The close guard sand then boiled and formed a sand mist. It prevented the little boy from using some special means to get close to Lin Yuan and the others. If the parasite butterfly wanted to increase its grade, it could absorb spirit qi in the natural world. The other method was through parasitizing hosts. The more hosts it parasitized, the higher the parasite butterfly's grade and quality. At present, this young parasite butterfly had just finished parasitizing and only controlled the little boy. Its strength was the same as the parasite butterflies. Both were elite. It could not break the sand prison formed by the source sand. Little Blossom was stunned by the sudden change in the situation. It looked at its little brother, who was held in the palm of yellow sand, and then at its big brother, who had just given it delicious spirit fruits and wanted to treat its little brother. The little flower instinctively pulled away from Lin Yuan and Lu Jie, wanting to run to its little brother's side to protect him. Upon seeing this, Lin Yuan hurriedly pulled the little flower back. He explained the current situation clearly to the little flower. After understanding the situation, the little flower's lips were still tightly pursed. It stared straight at the little boy. Lin Yuan's heart was now abnormally conflicted. The easiest way to make the young parasitic butterfly appear was to destroy its nest. However, Lin Yuan was not willing to do so. This pair of siblings had too many of his and Xueqi's shadows. Lin Yuan had thought more than once that if Xueqi had been parasitized by the parasite butterfly a few years ago, what would he have done? Even if he had to become enemies with the whole world, he would not have let anyone hurt Xueqi. Even if Xueqi had been parasitized by the parasite butterfly and become the source of a natural disaster. At this moment, the little flower's thoughts were probably the same as his. End of this chapter. Chapter 14:12. Lin Yuan lowered his head and looked into Xiaohua's eyes. He could see the stubbornness in them. When he thought about how the yin-yang chaos butterfly parasitized its host, Lin Yuan turned to Lu Jie. Big brother Lu, your insect queen can control insect-type carcinoma phase. Do you have a way to let the insect queen suppress the yin-yang chaos butterfly? I just need half an hour. Upon hearing this, Lu Jie immediately communicated with the insect queen. After some communication, Lu Jie said, the insect queen can suppress the insect-type carcinoma phase. The yin-yang chaos butterfly will steal the host's thoughts and memories, which is the same as absorbing the host's spiritual energy. After the yin-yang chaos butterfly parasitizes its host, it will steal the host's thoughts and memories, which is the same as absorbing the host's spiritual energy. If the yin-yang chaos butterfly parasitizes 2 children, I will use the rainbow angelfish's fish coat to replenish it. It should be able to hold on for half an hour. Based on Lin Yuan's question, Lu Jie had already guessed Lin Yuan's plan. However, this method was too risky. However, it was undeniable that this was undoubtedly the best ending for the little girl and the little boy. After hearing Lu Jie's affirmative answer, Lin Yuan asked Ji Feng. Ji Feng, can your water lotus plant a soul seed in the soul and ensure that it can repair the soul when cracks appear repeatedly? I just need half an hour. Ji Feng replied confidently. If it's against these 2 children, I don't even need to summon the water lotus back. I can just use the soul seed. 1 soul seed is enough for these 2 children's souls to last for a day, let alone half an hour. Upon hearing Ji Feng's statement, Lin Yuan nodded. If the insect queen could guarantee that it could suppress the yin-yang chaos butterfly, Ji Feng could guarantee that Xiaohua and Xiaohua's souls would not dissipate. Lin Yuan was also confident that he could use the jasmine lily's heel and severed limbs while the yin-yang chaos butterfly was wreaking havoc on Xiaohua and Xiaohua's bodies. Even if their bodies were constantly destroyed, they would still be able to regenerate according to their genetic model. These 3 prerequisites were the foundation of what Lin Yuan was going to do next. Lin Yuan looked at Xiaohua, who was pursing her lips and saying nothing. I know that in your world, your little brother is the only one. But your little brother is currently being controlled by an insect-type carcinoma Fey. Even if I have a way to extract that insect-type carcinoma Fey from your little brother's body, I will not be able to do so. The instant that insect-type carcinoma Fey leaves your little brother's body will be the moment he dies. Every time Lin Yuan said a word, Xiaohua's eyes dimmed a little. Suddenly, Lin Yuan changed the topic. But it's not like there's no way at all. It's just that this method requires you to bear the risk. If this method succeeds, you and your brother will survive. But if this method fails, both you and your brother will die. Upon hearing Lin Yuan's words, Xiaohua grabbed Lin Yuan's sleeve and begged while shaking it. Big brother, little flower is willing. Please save Xiao Chao. Hearing Xiaohua's words, the 20 bronze hurricane owlet moths that trapped the parasite butterfly suddenly dispersed. The parasite butterfly that was out of control went straight into Xiaohua's body from the back of his neck. Xiaohua, who had just been parasitized by the parasite butterfly, was still conscious. At that moment, a quicksand vortex appeared under Xiaohua's feet. Xiaohua was also grabbed by a palm made of sand. Lin Yuan instructed Xiaohua. Your little brother will wake up in a while. If you can endure the pain in your soul, you can try to encourage your little brother. After speaking, Lin Yuan nodded at Lu Jie and Ji Feng. Lu Jie snapped his fingers, and a fairy with long dark purple hair, dark green insect armor, and 2 pairs of dragonfly-like wings flew out of the dimensional light moth's body. This fairy was the insect queen. After fusing with the blade queen bee's spiritual toxin, the mutated insect queen looked very different from before. However, even though the insect queen was wearing an insect armor, it was still very shy and afraid of meeting strangers. The insect queen's personality was really hard to imagine. It was a war machine that could casually produce insect swarms. Lu Jie spoke to the insect queen in a serious tone. Insect queen, try your best to suppress the yin-yang parasite butterfly in these two children's bodies. Use the spiritual toxin to reduce the yin-yang parasite butterfly's mobility. Hearing Lu Jie's order, the insect queen flapped its wings and flew toward Xiao Hua and Xiao Chao. The insect queen extended its left hand toward Xiao Hua and Xiao Chao. At this moment, the insect queen's left index finger suddenly turned dark purple. The insect queen poked this dark purple finger into Xiao Hua's neck and Xiao Chao's right arm. Then, the insect queen's eyes turned silver. A wave of spiritual energy with a special rhythm rushed toward Xiao Hua and Xiao Chao. This wave of spiritual energy did not target Xiao Hua and Xiao Chao. Xiao Hua and Xiao Chao's bodies were like a filter, and the spiritual energy flowed into their bodies like water. It triggered the spiritual toxin that the insect queen injected into Xiao Hua and Xiao Chao's bodies. They pounced towards the yin and yang butterflies that were hiding in Little Flower and Little Grass's bodies. It tried its best to suppress the yin-yang parasite butterfly and Xiao Chao. However, the insect queen's suppression also caused the yin-yang parasite butterfly to fiercely resist. Especially the yin-yang parasite butterfly that had just entered Xiao Hua's body. It was the first to be caught by the insect queen's spiritual energy. Xiao Hua's body in the giant yellow sand palm began to tremble like a sieve. The lump on Xiao Hua's neck spread in Xiao Hua's body. Many ulcers quickly appeared on Xiao Hua's body, and pus and blood kept flowing out of the ulcers. This was the yin-yang parasite butterfly's action to resist the insect queen's suppression and quickly transform Xiao Hua's body into an insect nest. However, under the insect queen's suppression, the yin-yang parasite butterfly's movements became slower and slower. Ji Feng saw the right time and planted a water lily soul seed in Little Flower's soul. It nourished Little Flower's soul. There was still no movement on Xiao Chao's side. This meant that the insect queen had not found the yin-yang parasite butterfly hidden in Xiao Chao's body. Xiao Chao's body had been transformed into an insect nest, and it wanted to capture the yin-yang parasite butterfly in the insect nest. It needed some time and patience. As the yin-yang parasite butterfly had just entered Xiao Hua's body, everything was still under control. However, it was difficult for Xiao Chao. In the insect nest, the yin-yang parasite butterfly that stole Xiao Chao's spiritual energy was enough to fight against the insect queen's spiritual energy. Even with the help of the insect queen's spiritual toxin, it needed some time to fight. Lin Yuan summoned the jasmine lily and let the bud of mountain jade on the head of the jasmine lily's crystal-like main flower use its ability to heal Xiao Chao. Upon receiving Lin Yuan's command, the bud of mountain jade on the crystal-like main flower bloomed. A green pillar of light shot out from the bud of mountain jade and landed on Xiao Chao's body. It formed a link that transmitted vitality. Chapter 14:13. The wounds and pustules on Xiao Chao's body rapidly recovered under the jasmine lily's healing. At that moment, the insect queen's spiritual energy grabbed the yang parasite butterfly. The yang parasite butterfly started to wreak havoc in Xiao Chao's body. The eggs produced by the yang parasite butterfly broke open in large numbers and turned into yang parasite worms. These yang parasite worms were the reason why the yang parasite butterfly was able to infect other male targets. A large number of yang parasite worms drilled into Xiao Chao's skin, causing widespread infection and ulceration. However, as soon as the wounds appeared, they were immediately healed by the bud of mountain jade. The yang parasite worms had drilled into Xiao Chao's organs more than once. The vitality released by the bud of mountain jade triggered Xiao Chao's genetic model through its exclusive skill, severance. It allowed Xiao Chao's organs to rapidly regenerate. During this cycle, the yang parasite butterfly was affected by the insect queen's spiritual toxin, and its spiritual energy was gradually suppressed. Only then was Xiao Chao's consciousness released. The moment Xiao Chao regained her consciousness, Ji Feng planted a soul seed in her. Ji Feng could only use the soul seed on Xiao Chao when she regained her consciousness. Otherwise, the soul seed would be planted on the yang parasite butterfly's soul. Once the soul seed was given, it could not be retrieved before the energy was depleted. Ji Feng would not allow his mistake to affect the rescue mission. After Xiao Chao regained her senses, she burst into tears. The pain of her body being damaged and repaired had already injured her soul. It was all thanks to the nourishment of this soul seed. Otherwise, Xiao Chao, who had just regained consciousness, would have immediately fainted. Xiao Chao, whose soul was being repaired by the soul seed, saw Xiao Hua at the side and stretched out her trembling hand. It was as though she had seen a baby swallow that she could rely on. Xiao Hua, who Xiao Chao relied on, was just a 13 or 14-year-old girl. When Xiao Hua saw that Xiao Chao had regained consciousness, it endured the pain and wanted to explain the situation to Xiao Chao. Whether it was Xiao Chao or Xiao Hua, they were about to enter the most dangerous moment. This was the young parasite butterfly's dying counterattack. Xiao Hua did not have enough time to explain the situation to Xiao Chao, but Lin Yuan was already prepared. He said to Genius, "Genius, use the interconnected tail. Use the interconnected tail." When Genius heard Lin Yuan, it waved its tail, and it immediately turned into a lustrous white illusory link. The silvery white illusory link separated itself from Genius' body and connected the grass and flower. The thoughts and memories of Little Blossom and Little Grass were instantly connected. Just as Xiao Chao and Xiao Hua let out a miserable shriek, Lin Yuan quickly got Genius to withdraw from the interconnected tails. He used the interconnecting tail to connect Xiao Chao and Xiao Hua. Although the two of them could encourage each other through the interconnecting tail, however, the two of them could also feel each other's pain through the tail of connection. The pain was unbearable. The stimulation brought by the two types of pain was something the souls of two young children could not bear. Once the damage to his soul was too great, even the soul seed released by a peak emperor stage expert like Jifeng would be of no help. The Yin parasite butterflies and Yang parasite butterflies were making their final struggle under the insect queen's suppression. The psychic toxin made the Yang and Yin chaos butterflies feel the aura of death. In the final struggle of their lives, Xiao Chao and Xiao Hua's bodies broke down one after another. It actually made the jasmine lily feel a little pressured. This was because the yin-yang chaos worms in Xiao Hua and Xiao Chao's bodies had hatched in the tens of thousands. As soon as the jasmine lily stopped its treatment, Xiao Hua and Xiao Chao would instantly explode like balloons. To be safe, Jifeng released another soul seed for Xiao Hua and Xiao Chao's souls. As time passed, Lu Jie's expression became more and more pained. Cold sweat seeped out of his forehead. Normally, the insect queen could easily suppress one insect-type carcinoma Fae at a time. Lu Jie had never tried to suppress two insect-type carcinoma Faes at the same time. Although these two insect-type carcinoma Faes came from the same source, they still had two sets of spiritual energy and soul. Furthermore, one of the insect-type carcinoma Faes had stolen the spiritual energy of a 6-year-old child. Lu Jie took out dozens of fish coats from the diamond Fae storage box and distributed them to the insect queen. He kept 2 or 3 fish coats for himself and quickly ate them. Through the digestion of the fish coats, he replenished his spiritual energy. Just as he felt that the yin-yang chaos butterflies in Xiao Hua and Xiao Chao's bodies were about to lose their lives, the two yin-yang chaos butterflies condensed their soul power and collided with Xiao Hua and Xiao Chao's souls. Lin Yuan originally thought that the two soul powers would only affect Xiao Hua and Xiao Chao's souls. Then they would be healed by the two soul seeds. However, what surprised Lin Yuan was that these two soul shocks had penetrated into Xiao Hua and Xiao Chao's souls. A portion of the soul powers then slowly fused with Xiao Hua and Xiao Chao's souls. The moment the soul fusion was completed, the yin-yang chaos butterfly's souls were immediately healed by the soul seeds. At the same time, the yin-yang chaos butterflies no longer destroyed Xiao Hua and Xiao Chao's bodies. After the yin-yang chaos butterflies destroyed the previously produced yin-yang chaos worms, they emerged from Xiao Hua and Xiao Chao's bodies. Due to the insect queen's attacks, the two elite yin-yang chaos butterflies didn't dare to fly. They nested on Xiao Hua and Xiao Chao's bodies and flapped their wings in fear. This change stunned Lin Yuan, Lu Jie, and Jifeng. A guess appeared in the minds of Lin Yuan, Lu Jie, and Jifeng. Could the yin-yang chaos butterfly's souls have fused with Xiao Hua and Xiao Chao's souls? Did they become Xiao Hua and Xiao Chao's Faes? Soon, Lin Yuan and the other two's guess was confirmed. When Xiao Hua and Xiao Chao recovered and opened their eyes, the two yin-yang chaos butterflies flapped their wings and danced around Xiao Hua and Xiao Chao, emitting an instinctive intimacy. Xiao Hua and Xiao Chao also fused with a portion of the yin-yang chaos butterflies' souls. They had an instinctive affection for these two yin-yang chaos butterflies that had just hurt them. Lin Yuan's giant palm that was holding Xiao Hua and Xiao Chao slowly turned into quicksand and let Xiao Hua and Xiao Chao land on the ground. Xiao Hua landed on the ground and immediately flew toward Xiao Chao. She hugged Xiao Chao tightly in her arms. Xiao Chao stretched out her arms toward Xiao Hua, looking forward to Xiao Hua's hug. However, as soon as Xiao Chao was in Xiao Hua's arms, she immediately let out a cry and groaned in pain. Xiao Hua quickly took off her hemp clothes and hugged Xiao Chao again. Then, she hugged Xiao Chao again. To Xiao Hua and Xiao Chao, everything that had just happened was like a new lease of life. Xiao Hua hugged Xiao Chao for a full 3 minutes before he suddenly remembered something. He hastily pulled Xiao Chao to her feet and brought her before Lin Yuan, Lu Jie, and Ji Feng as he spoke gratefully. "Thank you, big brother, for saving Xiao Hua and Xiao Chao." "Thank you, big brother." End of this chapter. Chapter 14:14. Xiao Chao also mimicked Xiao Hua's behavior and said gratefully, "Thank you, big brothers." While thanking them, Xiao Hua suddenly had a thought. Compared to continuing to live here, it would be great if it could stay by Big Brother's side. However, thinking of its situation and identity, Xiao Hua could not say such words. Xiao Hua was afraid that it would be rejected if it said it. At that moment, Xiao Hua saw the Big Brother in front of her smile that made people feel especially warm. He placed his palms on the top of his and Xiao Cao's heads and gently rubbed them. Lin Yuan looked at Xiao Hua and Xiao Cao's clothes that were so tattered that they could not cover their bodies. He wanted to get 2 sets of spirit chi clothes for Xiao Hua and Xiao Chao to change into. However, no matter how many spirit chi clothes there were in Lin Yuan's diamond face storage box, there were no children's clothes. Lin Yuan took out a platinum blue brocade fox's skin and 2 bolts of silk satin. He sewed them simply. Lin Yuan, who had helped Xueqi survive, still knew some simple needlework. Lin Yuan and Xueqi did not have many clothes in total. Due to the circumstances of life, even if the clothes were broken, they did not have the money to buy new ones. Lin Yuan could only sew and patch them up before putting them on. In a moment, Lin Yuan made 2 sets of small white clothes. Lin Yuan split the platinum blue brocade fox's skin into 2, and simply sewed it into 2 fox fur cloaks. As the first young master of the Whale Ocean Trading Company, Ji Feng knew nothing about needlework. However, Lu Jie squatted down and joined in with ease. He took the 2 sets of spirit chi clothes that Lin Yuan had just sewn and changed the coarse-looking needle corners. In a short while, the 2 sets of spirit chi clothes became exquisite under Lu Jie's modification. Lin Yuan looked at Lu Jie, who was sewing clothes. He did not expect Lu Jie to do other than cooking. He was also so talented in this area. Without Wen Yu, Lu Jie would probably be the housekeeper of Return from Faraway Mansion. Xiao Hua and Xiao Chao were not stupid. They sewed the clothes according to the size of Lin Yuan and Lu Jie's clothes. They easily guessed that these 2 sets of spirit chi clothes were sewn for them. Xiao Chao was still fine, as she had been carefully taken care of by Xiao Hua. There was always a harbor to rely on even if one suffered. However, for as long as Xiao Hua could remember, he was beaten up by his alcoholic father. He has been responsible for all the work of the family since he was a child. He had to think of a way to find wine for his father. After that, his father went out and never came back. To Xiao Hua, it was a kind of relief. Now that there was one less person to eat at home, Xiao Hua brought her little brother to eat even more than before. Hence, Xiao Hua had never experienced what it felt like to be cared for by others. Little Flower had never received any clothes made for him before. Moreover, these 2 big brothers were the materials to make clothes. It was even better than the clothes of the noble ladies and young masters in the city center. This caused Xiao Hua to feel terrified. If it was possible, Xiao Hua would rather not have this set of clothes. Instead, she chose to live a hard life with her younger brother by her big brother's side. Xiao Hua was afraid that she and her brother would be left here after obtaining the 2 sets of spirit chi clothing. While Lin Yuan was creating the spirit chi clothing, he had been observing the 2 yin-yang chaotic butterflies. Xiao Hua and Xiao Chao ignored the 2 yin-yang chaotic butterflies, but the 2 yin-yang chaotic butterflies kept landing on them. Lin Yuan asked as he handed one set of clothes to Xiao Hua and the other to Xiao Chao. "Can the 2 of you control these 2 butterflies?" Xiao Hua turned around and looked at the black gold yin-yang chaotic butterflies. "Big brother, Xiao Hua can control this black gold yin-yang chaotic butterfly. He can do anything." Xiao Chao nodded and looked at the white gold yin-yang chaotic butterfly on her fingertip. This white gold yin-yang chaotic butterfly is also very obedient to Xiao Chao. Lin Yuan looked at Xiao Hua and Xiao Chao with a complicated gaze. Lu Jie's insect queen could control insect-type carcinoma phase because of an unexpected mutation. It was an ability that couldn't be replicated. Lin Yuan didn't dare to say that the water lily's ability, soul seed, and his jasmine lily's exclusive skill were unique. However, Lin Yuan had never met anyone else with such an ability. It could be said that the combination of these three unique abilities created a miracle. It created a fifth calamity switch that had thoughts and flesh. As long as Xiao Hua and Xiao Chao willed it, the calamity would descend. What was more terrifying was that Xiao Hua and Xiao Chao could blend into the crowd and become the perfect protective umbrella for the yin-yang chaotic butterfly. The spirit guards classified the fifth calamity phase as a fifth calamity, and they didn't just affect the origin world. There were also male and female life forms in the dimensional world. When Xiao Hua and Xiao Chao arrived in the dimensional world, they could still bring about a calamity that belonged to the origin world but was transferred to the dimensional world. Xiao Hua and Xiao Chao could now be defined as a pair of destructive strategic weapons. In such a situation, Lin Yuan had to instill the correct outlook on life and values into Xiao Hua and Xiao Chao. Lin Yuan looked at Xiao Hua and Xiao Chao's conflicted expression as they held the spirit chi clothes. My clothes and this big brother's clothes are slightly inferior. If you want to stay by my side, there will be a big sister who will make clothes for you in the future. The clothes that big brother and I are wearing are made by that big sister. Upon hearing Lin Yuan's words, Xiao Hua looked up at him. The expression on her face perfectly portrayed the process of a flower budding to blossoming. At this moment, the surprise in the girl's eyes seemed to have suddenly lit up the world. Xiao Hua said as she held Xiao Chao's hand. Xiao Hua is willing to bring Xiao Chao to stay by Big Brother's side. But Xiao Hua and Xiao Chao are dirty. If we wear Big Brother's clothes, we will dirty Big Brother's clothes. Lin Yuan could use Bai Lan to wash Xiao Hua and Xiao Chao. However, it was obviously not appropriate to do so. Lin Yuan stretched out his hand and ruffled Xiao Hua's hair. Don't worry. Put them on first. Don't worry if they get dirty. When we go back, I will make a clean one for Xiao Hua and Xiao Chao. Upon hearing Lin Yuan's words, Xiao Hua happily brought Xiao Chao back to the straw hut to change their clothes. Xiao Hua and Xiao Chao had just finished changing their clothes. Although there was still a lot of dirt on their faces, they looked much better than before. At the very least, they were no longer in a sorry state. Lin Yuan took out 2 towels and poured some water for Xiao Hua and Xiao Chao to wipe them. After wiping them, Lin Yuan realized that Xiao Hua and Xiao Chao looked very good. In their big eyes, there was a quick-wittedness that couldn't be hidden. However, there were more or less some scars on their bodies. These were the scars left by a difficult life. I wish everyone a happy New Year's Eve. Hee hee, the earliest blessing. End of this chapter.